That's right. Welcome into what hour is this now? Hour 9.
Yeah,
Hour 9.
Yeah, 9.
We are rocking and rolling into hour 9, Whisper Nation. Welcome back. I'm Big Travi. We're the Fantasy Whisperers. We're the best kept secret in fantasy football, keeping that week 1 feeling going all year long. And we're getting into a week 1 feeling through 24 hours now. So hope you guys are rocking and rolling with us, because we have got another badass guest right here with us. Let's bring in our man, Dave Kluge from Football Guys. What's going on, Dave?
What's up,
What's
man?
happening, everybody? Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for being here, dude.
Thanks for being here. How are you, brother?
Good. I'm glad I was able to make it relatively early last year. When I came on the show last year, it was like hour 22. Everyone had been drinking a little bit. One of you didn't even have a voice at that point. So I'm excited to get you guys nice and fresh this year.
Yeah, no, it's, I wouldn't call it fresh, but we're definitely fresher than we were last year. And I do think that we all have a lot more energy this time around. And we should give ourselves a little bit of handicap. We don't know what it's going to be like in the later hours. But right now, we're feeling great. We're feeling good. And we're feeling even more blessed to keep getting these absolute rock stars from Football Guys. Just had Sigmund on the show. We got you, Dave, coming on with us. Yeah, it's been a blast. You said you were out crushing some cold ones today already, huh?
Still am.
Yeah. I just got my first beer of the marathon.
He'll be doing a cheers, probably most likely by the end of this to somebody instead of yeah.
Was that a Montucky you were drinking there, Big Travi?
It is Great Divide Car Camper.
All right. Good stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's good. It's all right. It's not my favorite. This is the last one in the fridge, so I love Great Divide. You make decent beer. I don't know if this is my favorite. But either way, thanks for being here again, Dave. We're doing a 12-team dynasty startup. So you're a first dynasty startup, a first dynasty style of the mock draft marathon. We're just talking to Sig about like switching things up and trying to change the mock drafts, because it can get kind of monotonous doing the same 12 or same ones over and over. But you took the 5 spot here. Talk a little bit about the maybe strategy behind that, or was it purely random?
I was actually thinking about moving around. There were some other spots available. I was given the 5 spot, and then I thought about it, and I just really like that. I don't want to completely give away who I'm hoping for, but I think there's a pretty clear-cut teardrop after 5, and I want to make sure that I get one of those 5 guys with my first picks.
All right, so tell us all those 5 guys so that we can jack you. No,
yeah. Austin, you hear that? You didn't want to give it up. You didn't want to give up any information right now, dude.
No, it didn't. No, it seems
so Austin will try to ask Johnny all the time, like, who's he thinking next year on the clock? And Johnny is like notorious for saying, like, I'm not telling you, dude. Like,
I don't want my players tonight.
Which is to me the greatest testament to how incredible this game based on a game really is, that we will be mock drafting, which is like practice drafting for a game based on another game. And we're doing it to create content. And we're still so invested in this. When someone asks what you're thinking, the answer is "fuck off." You'll find out in 5 seconds. Like it's like that's how much we actually love this.
I'm not showing my cards at all.
No,
I suppose I can realistically. So for me, it's Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Taylor, Kyle Pitts. I feel like those 5 are the difference makers, especially in single QB. And single QB isn't something I have a lot of experience in, single QB dynasty. So this is a little bit different. It's got me thinking outside the box.
There we go.
All right, boys, I got a little bit of technical difficulties I got to handle. I'm going to start this draft, but I got to pop off for just a couple minutes. I'll be right back on. So,
all right,
you guys
okay.
Don't you go sleeping on us now.
We have some of the wrong links going out to guests. So Dave, we almost missed, but I got to get it straightened out. So I'll be right back.
So we'll get this one here. So DBR is going to start us off. So Dave, you were saying that you have been doing a ton of dual quarterback leagues. We've seen that trend increase. Superflex has come in. Do you think that Superflex is now almost like the standard for starting for new leagues?
I really don't. I think it's like the standard in our industry, where you have a bunch of just degenerates that are drafting year round and playing like that.
Yeah.
To any like casual consumer, and they think Superflex 2 quarterback, they think it's just terrible. Like nobody wants anything to do with it. And it's just like in our little circle, it feels like it's becoming the standard, but I don't think it's even close to it on a bigger scale.
Well said. You're totally right, because it's like it's us. We drive this, we push it because we do it all year long. We freaking love it, and then maybe we get a little bit stale, and so we're like, let's do a Superflex PPR point per carry. Like, let's get it going. Whatever.
Yeah, point per first down, tight end premium. You try pitching that to your buddy that you're in a work league with, and they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. And they're like, "No, we've been playing this way for 12 years. There's no reason to change it."
That's a really good point. So I think that industry leaders drive the conversations. Like eventually that becomes more readily accepted, but it takes some time.
Oh, I can't.
I mean, I couldn't even. My home league's been going for 13 years. We didn't even switch to fractional scoring for yards until about 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, trying to get people to just change scoring is not easy to do.
No, it's the most difficult thing ever. I just want to put my head through the wall whenever we have a Bilal PAL meeting because
their bylaws.
It's like, the bylaws.
Call them Bilal.
It's just like, let's like add a little bit more excitement here. And it's like, can't change the way, like we used wood to make fire 100,000 years ago. Can't change it now.
I wish Travis was here, and we'll bring it back in here because Travis has been a little bit more on the, hey, let's like appreciate what we've got in our hometown league, and let's just, where's the grass greenest? It's greenest where you water it. So let's just water it here. I'm a little bit on the Johnny side with it. I'm always like, how can we make it just even a little bit better, even a little bit more exciting? Fractional scoring was something we brought in recently. Half points or quarter points lost for tackles for losses, little things like that. We've enjoyed those tinkerings, but they're tough. They're tough to get the whole league on board with.
Yeah, and it's hilarious too. Like, think about the fantasy football we used to play. You know, I'm sure you guys have been playing for quite a while, but like 10 years ago, you know, you'd have a guy that would put up, 15 carries for 39 yards and 5 catches for 19 yards, and he's putting up 4 points. Like on that stat line, it's literally 4 points when you don't have the fractional scoring, you don't have points per reception. I mean, it's the game has come a long way over the last few years, but it's still adapting. But, you know, even as a content creator, I talk about that all the time, how hard it is to toe the line. Because, like, you want to have really high-level content that you're getting, industry cred for. You know, you want people to be like, wow, that guy can really talk the talk. But you also want it to be accessible enough so the average Joe who just is trying to get a leg up in his, in his brother-in-law's league, you want it to be accessible enough for them as well. So it's kind of this really delicate balance of, like, high-level content but also accessible content. And you don't want to go too far in either direction.
That's really smart. That's very well said. Because, you're right. It's like what drives the most views initially, in the off season are going to be, other analysts or people that are definitely like in, the industry wise. And then it's like, but that content doesn't necessarily translate to some of those everyday, the people that are coming in now.
How do you kind of approach that, Dave? And the rest of the folks in the industry that you work with, how do you kind of work on curating content and creating content that you genuinely enjoy, but you also know that the audience is going to enjoy? And it's almost like sometimes giving them the things that they need versus the things that they want. How do you balance that?
I think so much of it has to do with the time of year. Early on in the off season in February, March, April, that's when I can do my really deep dives and talk about some high level analytics and things like that. But as soon as we switch that gear into redraft season, we're like, now this time of year is when the more casual consumers are tuning in. And rather than just saying ADOT on a show, I'll say ADOT, average depth of target. That's how far down the field a wide receiver is targeting the quarterback. And you just spell out those little things that we take for granted and a lot of other people don't understand. You can't say, yak per reception. You say, this is what the guy does after the catch. And I don't
Here's why that's important.
Exactly. Yeah, you just really have to walk through step by step and just try to make the content as accessible as possible. So I think knowing the time of year is big on that. And this time of year, especially once you hit late July, early August, that's when you have to make things more for the people in their work leagues and casual leagues.
That's a really smart insight on this one to share, and just spelling it out, just breaking it down a little bit, still bringing in those high level metrics, as you say, not dumbing it down, but just spelling it out a little bit more to help to bring them on board where we're at. I'm writing this down in my notebook right now. That's a really good point.
I did not want to go. I hated where I was. I don't like this pick.
Like in life or on the draft? Like, what do you mean?
Well, I thought like normally it's nice. Yeah, we're in this draft. Definitely loving where I'm at in life.
All of you guys, Austin, Trav, and Johnny, you guys all went quarterback in a single QB league. I'm kind of surprised to see that.
Yeah, I was kind of running out of time, and I didn't like the running backs that were there because I want to wait now on that potentially unless something usually like this place is conducive right here, this spot for like guys that fall, but there was not really any guy that I do have a guy that I have in mind that I'm hoping will fall and most likely will fall to me, but I didn't want to take him in that second round. And then other guys, I didn't know if I was. So
I did go here quarterback in this round, and I'm fine with Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, even in single quarterback dynasty startups going this early because these guys are already elite level quarterbacks that are also crazy young. I think that these guys have such a long runway ahead for success. And if you can lock one of those positions up in fantasy football, you're going to give yourself a shot at the playoffs almost every year just coming in. I appreciate that. I was hoping that Allen would fall to me here in the second round. I've also been spending just so much time, probably more than I should, just looking at Keep Trade Cut's dynasty rankings. Dave, it was actually you who mentioned Keep Trade Cut on one of the shows we were doing, and I spent more time looking at it. And that is like such a well democratized board. It really just points to not what people like will logically talk themselves into, but what they really think, where they're really holding on to guys. And I think it provides some really strong insights. And guys like Josh Allen are still up there in the top 10 for dynasty, single quarterback dynasty rankings. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and like I said, single QB dynasty is just something that's very new to me. I did a single quarterback dynasty startup about 4 or 5 years ago when I was first getting into dynasty and haven't really tried it since. And even since then, we've actually we had a auxiliary draft and or ancillary draft, whatever you want to call it, and actually added a Superflex spot and did another draft for quarterbacks at one point in that league. So playing the single quarterback dynasty, I don't really know how to value quarterbacks. This is kind of uncharted waters for me. So I'm interested in kind of talking it through and seeing why you guys did that. But I get it. I mean, that's a position now. You're going to have that advantage at quarterback probably for, even though this is a mock draft, typically looking at like a 3 to 5 year window, but you can plan 10 years out and know that you've still got that quarterback spot locked in.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm also kind of twisted with it too, because, it's a dynasty. So you're probably going to have, 20, 25, maybe even more guys rostered. And that quarterback field dries up really fast. And I've just watched too many of my league mates in our dynasty league, which is a single quarterback league, just get fucked. Like they end up getting like a middle of the road quarterback, and it's hard to get out of that if you find yourself stuck in that position. Then you start drafting guys, and it's hard to draft like a successful quarterback. It's not as easy as one might think. I mean, like Justin Herbert, he went in like the 4th round or something. No one was really expecting Justin Herbert to be that dude. Josh Allen, same thing. Patrick Mahomes, same thing right there. Like these guys kind of come out of nowhere and catch you off guard, but then once they're in, they're in. So I'm just not going to fuck around. Get me that guy if I know he's there, especially if he's in his mid-20s.
And I'm sitting here like, kind of giving you guys a hard time for quarterbacks, but with the approach that I take, I'm going to end up being, on a team with Kenny Pickett and who knows who else my quarterback's going to be. So it's I'm interested. I mean, my plan is just to punt quarterback way down the board. I figure with 12 teams only having to start one quarterback, I'd be fine waiting until one of the very final rounds and hoping that I can get, Kirk Cousins or Jameis Winston, somebody that I could just plug in and rely on weekly.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a bad way to look at it. I have just had the panic of not having one and knowing what happens. It was there. So
again, too, I mean, the other case for especially this year, if you're starting up doing a dynasty startup, is next year's draft class is supposed to be littered with quality quarterbacks. And so, you can almost kind of say, hey, because, you can either punt, and those, so you really build, you get rookies, you get, build up your depth at certain positions when you're starting a dynasty startup. Like everyone thinks that they're going to compete from year one. It's just doesn't really happen that way. So some players will do like kind of an auto tank in the first year and just grab like rookies so that they know like, hey, my team's going to be a good come up team or whatnot, which is good to know that next year there should be a plethora of quarterbacks. So if you don't end up hitting on a quarterback this year, then it's like, okay, well, you have a high pick most likely next year and you can draft one of those quarterback guys. But like Austin said, it is very nice to have like a guy that is just on your roster and you're like, oh, he's tied up for 6 years, 5 years at least,
Now, do you know if Trav is making his picks or is he just getting autoed right now while he's dealing with this? Because Dalton Schultz with some of the other tight ends still on the board is a little shocking to see.
Oh yeah, I came back just in time to defend it too, Dave. All right.
I want to hear it. Let's hear
Well,
it.
first of all, I was multitasking, so I don't know that I love the Dalton Schultz pick too much, but I will say that I do think he's married to a good situation, a good quarterback, should be for a decent amount of time. Now they haven't done his contract yet, so that's a little shaky for Dynasty for sure. But if they get it right, and they don't nail the next few picks at weapons, like Schultz and CeeDee Lamb could be locked into like a really narrow target share for a couple years to come at least, and I'm in on that. I don't love, like we've talked about Schultz a little bit. I don't love Schultz as like an athletic freak, but again, it's all about opportunity for me with Schultz, and he's on the field a ton, and he's got a relationship with the quarterback. So I'll
He's feeling like the new Zach Ertz for me, man. Is that too far out of play, Dave? Is likening Dalton Schultz here to a younger Zach Ertz?
I don't know.
Similar
Zach
athletic,
Ertz,
like they're athletic, but they're not athletic.
that's the
Like
thing. Zach Ertz, like I can't put a finger on it. Like I've been, a football fan for my entire life. I've been watching Zach Ertz play for almost 10 years now, and I don't know how he does what he does. Like he's not athletic, he's not a good separator, he's not great at contested catches. He just always seems to draw the ball and gets catches and doesn't do much after the catch. And I don't know. I mean, it took me years to finally warm up to Zach Ertz because he isn't an athlete at all. And I mean, at this point, you got to buy into Zach Ertz because he's got the just long level of production that he's been able to maintain. And Dalton Schultz just feels like it was possibly a little bit fluky last season. I'm not sure if it's something that he can maintain long term. That's I don't hate the pick, but with George Kittle and Darren Waller and T.J. Hawkinson and Goddard and some of the other guys on the board, Schultz is
it was really an age thing versus the other two, and Kittle and Waller. But I mean, I don't feel good I don't feel good about it. It doesn't give me warm and fuzzies to pick Schultz over those two guys. Don't get me wrong. But again, at a dynasty startup, I'm just trying to project long term. And Kittle just hasn't been able to stay on the field.'s getting up there. Waller was already an older guy when he started because he was a convert. So he was already a little bit older. Are you laughing at old people, Johnny?
Well, I just the way that you said that was just like, dude, you remind me of on Dumb and Dumber. It's like, who knew? Old people, although slow.
Advanced
society.
Yeah.
You can still serve a purpose. That's what I felt like with Derek when you were just describing Waller.
No, and now Z's in the chat saying that Schultz is older than Jason Witten, so now I'm checking. Checking age card.
He's 26, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 26.
Yeah, 26. Okay, all right. Come on, Z.
I mean,
I was going to give you guys a hard
minute
time
to
for
break out.
quarterbacks, but you totally sold me on it. And then just watching the way that the board played here, I ended up taking Lamar Jackson in the fourth. I
nice.
wasn't sure when quarterbacks were going to go, but that's my very clear tier fall off. I've actually got Lamar ahead of Kyler and Herbert. So just kind of looking at the way quarterbacks were falling, I figured that would be a good enough chance or good enough value for me to take him there.
Love it.
I do too. On this, you just start getting down to this position where you're getting these guys because it's dynasty too, right? Like you're juggling such interesting things. Like, yeah, you want to win right now. You want to see guys who can perform, but you also want a team that can blossom further down the road and sticking that timing. Like nobody's going to have a perfect team in terms of a great build this year, as well as a great build in 3 years from now. So you kind of try to pick and choose here and there. Mm-hmm. But I like that. I like that spot for a quarterback too.
And I think too, the other case in point, right, is like because it is a dynasty, like you get these guys at least for 3 to 5 years is a good, window to look at it. Like most likely you'll at one point trade them, but it's okay to reach for some of these guys, that you just enjoy watching too. Because at the end of the day, this is dynasty. You're going to be stuck with this team for a while. And so it's might as well have a couple of players, even if you do have to, draft up a little early to get them. Like, for example, in our rookie one, I have a lot of Cardinals fans, and it was Kyler Murray's rookie year. So I had to get him in the 4th round, which was like crazy, but I knew he wasn't going to get back to me based on where I was. But I've never regretted taking him there because it's been an absolute blast watching him. And then knowing he also plays for my dynasty team is like cherry on top right there.
Who is your favorite dynasty player?
Like of
my
all
favorite
time?
player in dynasty?
Yeah, right now. Like, who's your favorite guy to get in dynasty right now?
I mean,
I know that's
we're a little behind it at this point, but my favorite guy for the last 2 years has been Allen Lazard. I had him on 85% of my rosters prior to the Davante Adams trade, so that one paid off for me. I mean, that was a guy that I've been beating the drum for years. Just
I'll take that.
Dirty work guy that I knew was going to earn the trust of Aaron Rodgers and get some extra snaps there in Green Bay, and I was feeling pretty good about that one.
Okay, so let me ask you on that, because Dynasty once again. Have you flipped any of them because of how much hype he is, or you've kept all your shares of him on all your Dynasty?
I've kept them all. If I was getting a low first, I'd flip him, but I'm not trading him for any less than that. I mean, we're just seeing this guy's value just creeping up. I mean, everyone was shouting from the rooftops 3-4 months ago to go flip him for a 3rd-round pick, and now he's getting valued as a high 2nd. So I'm just going to keep holding. I think it's just going to, if he can come out and get a couple 100-yard games early in the season, I think he's going to be getting traded away for a 1st-round pick without even thinking twice.
I like that one.
To the moon. To the moon.
Dude, people kind of overlook how well he performed when he was in that number 1 role. Like, I know he hasn't done it consistently, but on the few times he has had that responsibility put on his shoulders, he's thrived. He's made big plays. He hasn't fucked up. Like, and he's right there right now. And you talked about the trust that he's earned with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that can be understated.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then my other favorite guy, who I just happened to draft already, is Lamar Jackson. I've, like you said, just drafting players that you like, players that you like to root for. I'm sure you see the jersey behind me, Lamar Jackson right here. I mean, I just love him. He's one of my favorite players. Won me a ton of money in 2019, and now I've got him on over half of my dynasty rosters. Just can't get enough of him. And then Justin Fields is another guy. Being a Bears fan, probably I wish I would have waited until this offseason to buy rather than last offseason. So paid a premium sticker price for him in a lot of drafts and startups, but I've got him on plenty of my teams. Yeah, there was one I did last offseason. I traded away Mac Jones and a 2023 Mac Jones and a 2023 first for Justin Fields, and I'm regretting that one a little bit.
Ooh, and a first?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I do want to say, Dave.
Yes.
You have been. There's not many of us. They're few and far between right now. I mean, next year he'll be the new hot name, just like Hurts was for us this year. Can we get a little positive love on why Fields is the true new Lamar, new Hurts, and not Lance?
Yeah, very easily. I mean, this guy only played 10 games last year, where he started 65% or more of the team snaps, and in the first 6 games, he didn't do anything at all. But if you remember, this guy wasn't supposed to play early in the season. It was Andy Dalton was the week 1 starter, so he wasn't getting any reps with the first team. They were talking about benching him for the first half of the season. And then in week 2, Andy Dalton gets injured. Justin Fields gets pushed out in the field, and he was terrible. That week, the next week, the week after that, I mean, he was just bad. Like you'd kind of expect, a guy that didn't get any reps with the team that he was playing, wasn't planning to start. But he showed these little progressions every single week. And if you look at the last 4 games that he started and finished, he was putting up monstrous numbers, averaging 244 passing yards per game, 64 yards per game, rushing yards per game. If you extrapolate that over a full season, we're looking at 1,100 rushing yards. His fantasy points per game on those final 4 games would have been good enough to be QB5 last year. So this guy's ceiling is just so high. And if you look at his season-long numbers, there's so much context missing because he wasn't supposed to play and he was forced out earlier than he should have been. But I still think that there's a ton of upside in drafting Justin Fields.
Any concern? Like I think we all love Justin Fields, and I know Travis does too, even though he's got that begrudging.
He's not going to draft him. He said, "I won't draft him."
Yeah, but the question, the big question on Justin Fields is: do the Bears like him? Do the Bears want him to succeed? And I guess if you have a coaching staff that doesn't want him to succeed, that's a hell of a challenge to overcome. It's kind of a weird one to put out there, but it could be a real factor. Dave, do you have any inclination on the Bears franchise, the current decision makers not being in on Justin Fields and wanting to sabotage him?
No, I don't think that's true. I think that story was overblown a little bit. I mean, this is such a new situation for the Bears to be in. As long as the Bears have been around, this is the first time they've ever gone into a new season, week 1, with a new quarterback, new general manager, and a new head coach. They've literally never done that. I mean, this is the first time that they've cleaned house like this. And really, there's just so much of a mess left behind from Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. I mean, right now they're eating $50 million in dead contracts. They had to trade away Khalil Mack and eat a ton of that money. So right now they're just kind of in this salary cap hell where they can't do too much. So people are very, pointing fingers at the Bears for not making big moves. Well, they really can't. They're locked up in what they can do because of the mess left over from the previous staff. So if you look forward, at next year, I think what they're doing is kind of a soft tank, is what I've been calling it. there's no reason for them to go out and spend a bunch of money on an AJ Brown or a Tyreek Hill or something like that, because there is no chance of them winning anything this year. And I think that they know that. So what they're trying to do is just focus on the new system, get the players comfortable in that. More likely than not, they're going to have a high pick next year. And next year's draft is loaded. You guys already mentioned earlier some of the quarterbacks coming in, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and then you got these wide receivers and you got Bijan. I mean, there's going to be a lot of hype for these early draft picks next year. And we just saw it with San Francisco. They traded up, 3 first-round picks to move up to number 3 overall. And I could see that type of value being attributed to next year's draft picks. So if they have one of those high draft picks, ideally they'll trade back and, just accrue some more draft capital. And on top of that, they've got over $100 million going into free agency next year. So with DK Metcalf and Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, these big-name guys available, I think this year the plan is just to, position themselves high in next year's draft, and then they'll make some big splashy moves and kind of bring in some guys that the new staff wants.
That's
the soft tank on this, kind of setting it up for some of those other
big
pieces.
brain. Soft tank, I like that.
And you look right now, and it's gross. It's
it makes you
Mooney,
soft.
wide receiver 1, Cole Kmet, tight end. I mean, it's not great, but what happens next year if they bring in DK Metcalf or Deontay Johnson, and then they sign or draft Keyshawn Boutte or Jackson Smith and Jigba? There's going to be so many wide receivers out in the market next year. They can easily bring 2 in.
Yeah, I gotta say, Dave, I'm not one to call homers here, but it does sure sound like the Bears guy is like, oh, next year when they get DK Metcalf in there and they just sign him to this big contract after absolutely almost ruining Allen Robinson. Yeah, I think that's on the table for him.
And if you look at
Deontay
it was very similar with Allen Robinson. It was Mitch Trubisky's second year, and I think that they're kind of learning from their mistakes. It was Mitch Trubisky's second year, and they went out and they spent $110 million in multiple first-round picks on Khalil Mack, and then they spent another $85 million on Allen Robinson. And I think what they did is they just shifted into win-now mode before they were ready to. And I think that they have hopefully learned from that, and rather than immediately bring in a new staff and just saying, go, 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 let's see what these guys can do, they're kind of taking a multi-year approach, which we've seen a lot of teams really do successfully. I mean, Miami may have botched it a little bit by going all in on Tyreek Hill, but, they set themselves up very nicely. In Philadelphia, by accruing a ton of draft capital and salary cap, they did a really nice rebuild there. Detroit is doing it as well. The Bears have never really done a rebuild. They're always kind of focused on putting themselves in a position where they can fill seats in the stadium.
Pete Carroll method.
Exactly. And that's just what the Bears have done my entire lifetime. And it seems like this year they're finally just taking a step back and saying, we don't care about wins this year. Let's focus on 2-3 years out from now.
As a Packers fan, I've rarely seen the Bears care about wins, period.
Oh,
But, I'm done now, Dave. I'm done.
I mean, it's just Chicago
couple
sports
shots
in general. It's Chicago sports in general. Like, this team loses Derrick Rose, and what do? They go out and bring in like a 34-year-old Dwayne Wade. I mean, it's always just about like, how can we sell jerseys? How can we sell seats? That's what Chicago sports are all about.
Yeah, we got a good question here from Z. Yeah, Dave, how convinced are you that Jimmy G is gone from San Francisco? I'm not buying it. Classic Mike has been on record saying he's not either. I think the writing's on the wall. Like they're done with Jimmy G. Like whether it's cut or trade.
Pressing me on all my hot takes today, huh?
Yeah, why not? That's what we're here for.
We got you now. There you go.
What you got to do is like give you a couple beers and see if they're still as sound.
Yeah.
Let me make my quick
beer goggles on.
I haven't even been looking at this. Give me just a second to make this pick, and then I'll jump into it.
Yeah, for sure. I guess we'll let you make the pick.
Yeah.
No, but I think the writing's on the wall because I think Shanahan is a guy that's usually pretty honest, and obviously there's coach speak and all that stuff, but he's basically been honest about them trying to trade him and not getting a market, whether it's the contract or a throwing shoulder or all those things. They locked him out of the building. Like this thing is done in my mind. It's just how he gets off the team.
I couldn't disagree more that Shanahan has been honest. I mean, this is the guy who, last year we thought that this team was drafting Mac Jones at 3 overall, and then it was Justin Fields, and then he surprised everybody with Trey Lance. Like Trey Sermon was supposed to be the week 1 starter there. I think just when you look at it overall, since the day Kyle Shanahan has been a head coach, he's been tied to Jimmy G. And we've seen the win splits with Jimmy G and without Jimmy G. I mean, you could say quarterbacks aren't a win stat all you want, or wins aren't a quarterback stat. And I'll agree with you to an extent, but Jimmy G might be the outlier, or might be the one time where you can say that he is the reason, because he just fits so well with this offense, just being able to facilitate short passes to their playmakers. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but I think that, first of all, I think there was some validity last year to Kyle Shanahan not wanting Trey Lance and being forced to it from the front office. We still haven't gotten, a resounding yes, Trey Lance is going to be the week 1 starter. And then just looking at the contract, they're going to have to pay Jimmy G $25 million this year. If they trade him, more likely than not, they're going to have to eat 15 to 20 million of that. Why would they eat all of that dead money to get rid of Jimmy G when they can just keep him for an extra $5-10 million, knowing that Trey Lance isn't proven and this team is in a position to win now? I think that having Jimmy G there just benefits Kyle Shanahan, because if Trey Lance can't get it done, if they get off to a 1-3 start, a 2-4 start or something like that, they've got Jimmy G to fall back on and push him in. I just don't think that there's any reason for San Francisco to get rid of him at this point.
I mean, who's behind Trey Lance?
Yeah, well, I think it's more about the locker room. We know that the guys like Jimmy G, so they've kept him out of the locker room. They don't want to divide the locker room. You don't want to name Trey. Why is that funny?
No,
why would you want to divide the locker room?
No, because in my
I don't understand how that's funny.
It's funny because in my mind, when you say that, I'm just thinking of like when your boy is like dating someone and you're like trying to keep her away because it's going to divide up your group, but she's good for him, and so that's the thought that came through my head. Sorry. That's why
it'd be different if they're bringing Jimmy G in to compete and like to push Trey Lance. Maybe I'd buy it, but they've basically locked him out of the building. They said they're done with it. They tried to tell people at the coaches meeting that they've tried to trade him, but he basically not disobeyed the team, but like went behind the team's back and waited on the surgery. Right. And I think those ties are not something they need. Like, it doesn't behoove them to go and shift towards Trey Lance all summer and then at the last minute be like, well, all the money's still here. Let's go with Jimmy G.
I think both your points stand. I think honestly, both of your points stand. And I'm with Dave all the way in a vacuum. Like, it makes so much sense if you're running a team on Madden franchise and where like chemistry is not turned up. But to Travis's point, like it makes all the freaking sense in the world to have a veteran quarterback who's brought you deep into the playoffs multiple times, standing behind a guy who literally had like a shortened season in college. And that's the only sample size we have of Trey Lance, plus 2 games in the NFL. Like, we don't know about Trey Lance. Anybody who wants to tell you what Trey Lance is keeping their fingers crossed, because you really don't know. You just don't have enough information available to make a credible take. So it does make sense to hold on to Jimmy G for all the contract reasons, for all of the increase in wins that could bring you. But then to Travis's point, like, emotion is a real part of this, and they are looking to go in a different direction. And it does make sense to turn the page fully, get rid of Jimmy G, and just say, welcome aboard, Trey Lance. Let's go win some games.
Speaking of Jimmy, my partner Cassie, I love her so much. She just texted me, pizza or Jimmy John. So Whisper Nation, Dave, the panel, do I go pizza or Jimmy John's? I think I got to go pizza. Honestly,
well,
I'm not
in Denver, right?
Yeah.
Man, I'm from Chicago, so I think I'm just spoiled, but I have eaten from every pizza place in Colorado and they all suck. I have yet to find a good pizza place out here in Colorado.
Well, my problem is I don't like Jimmy John's. It's just so much bread. Like, I'm not big on that.
Say bread again.
So much bread.
So much bread.
Have you ever done the onion or the unwich where they wrap it up in lettuce? Sounds gross, but it's really not that bad.
How good? Well, I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Hey, I bet you
do that with a burger.
I bet you.
I went through a keto kick a while back, and I was eating a lot of unwiches from Jimmy John's.
And they probably don't put as much lettuce as they do bread on that one.
Dude, Pizza Belly's comment, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Dude, the whole thing. Pizza Belly says, pizza, man, come on. It's like Cookie Monster. You guys are like, cookies are brownies. And Cookie Monster's like, come on, man. I love that.
Dave, have you had, just really quickly on the Denver pizza, have you had Big Daddy's pizza?
Yeah, actually just I was in Denver last weekend. We ordered a Nasty Boy from Big Daddy and could not stop laughing at how ridiculous this was that we had to call a place called Big Daddy's Pizza.
Wait, no, but what kind of pizza did you get? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like we were downstairs outside the hotel room, like, waiting for Big Daddy to bring us that Nasty Boy. I mean, it's been an ongoing joke since last weekend. So I'm really glad you brought that up. And Big Daddy's
was the hotel like, I'm sorry, sir, this is not that kind of establishment. You're gonna have to go elsewhere if that's what you're ordering.
Big Trav, you're gonna order a big nasty Big Daddy pizza.
We had a good laugh after it, but I mean, Trav, the pizza sucked. It was terrible. I'm sorry, man.
Well, they have one. Well, what was on it?
It was like all the meats. It was a real Nasty Boy. Just
well, that's why, dude. I think sometimes you put too much toppings, but they do a I don't know what it's called, but they do.
We also got a Hawaiian, which was a very drunk move. We got a small Hawaiian as well. Yeah.
Let's go.
No, Hawaiians out, man.
Why?
Can't do.
Oh, so you
can't
make
do
fun of
one
old people, now you
pineapple.
make fun of Hawaiians, Johnny?
Why can't just people live, bro?
No,
Who's hurting you?
Hawaiian
They're not
pi-
hurting. It's just like
Hawaiian pizza. Hawaiian pizza is
the
sorry,
sweet and the salty mixed together for
So
a delicious ride. What's wrong?
warm pineapple is disgusting. It's
I
absolutely
disagree.
disgusting.
I'm
Grilled
sorry it hits your
pineapple
taste buds
is
that
the
way.
best pineapple when it's grilled.
No.
Oh,
I'm sorry a delicious, joyful
I wanna go-
experience is kept out of your life.
I want to go back because Anthony makes a great point. Just one more thing on the Jimmy G thing. He had his chance twice, and when you lose the Super Bowl and then lose to the Rams the NFC Championship in the fashion that you did, you have to turn the page. And I agree. I think that's where they're at. Like, he has made great.
Wow. So
He has made a lot of good decisions. He hasn't made any great decisions, and he's made bad mistakes in key moments for them that have cost them everything. So,
I guess would you say that about your boy Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love?
Oh,
Hell
yeah.
no, you wouldn't.
Well, I'll say that he
So
makes
Jordan
bad
Love?
mistakes. He makes bad mistakes clutch, but we did not trade 3 picks to get Jordan Love.
also
Okay.
some Jimmy G's
So-
back-to-back
You did
MVPs.
trade up to get
And Trey Lance
Jordan.
actually showed in 2 games that he's like dynamic at least. I don't know what Jordan Love is.
You did trade up to get Jordan Love.
Not 3 picks, Johnny. Listen to what I
No,
say. The
no,
whole
but
thing,
you
not
did
just
trade
straw
up.
man. Not just
Hey.
straw man. Don't just pull the
You-
thing that's convenient for your argument.
No, I mean, you did say they
The
didn't trade
whole picture. We didn't trade up 3 picks
up. Hey,
to get Jordan Love.
There's a
But
major
anyway,
difference.
This
I
is
was gonna say, I see somebody in the chat talking about disgusting Chicago pizza, and I've got a bone to pick with them.
here we go.
Oh, here we go.
I'll take Philly's
You
pizza.
don't
Thank
do
you.
that.
Not the
the deep
disgusting Chicago deep dish.
Here's the thing, though:
Feel like-
Chicagoans don't eat deep dish pizza. Deep dish pizza is for tourists that come to Chicago. Nobody, like no self-respecting Chicagoan, actually eats deep dish
So-
pizza.
Now, do you call it? Is the stuffed pizza? Does Chicagoans call it the stuffed
Yeah.
pizza? Is that
So
deep
it's like a
dish in
casserole.
Chicago?
It's just like an
Yeah.
inch of like cheese with the sauce and toppings and everything on top. Chicagoans
Yeah.
don't eat that. Chicagoans eat. It's actually based out of Columbus, Ohio. I recently found out that's where it started, but it's like a cracker style pizza almost. It's really thin. It's like you can pick up each slice and just hold it. You know, it's like a thin square cut,
Little
crispy
crunch?
Oh,
crust. Yeah, and then it's
I
nice
like
and
that.
greasy. And the trademark is big chunky toppings. So I mean, you'll get like golf ball sized pieces of sausage on there. It's
Ooh,
different,
there
but
we
it's
go.
good.
That's real Chicago style.
That is real Chicago. Yeah, and yeah.
Got it.
This deep dish is for the birds.
You know, that's funny. Oregano's Pizza Bistro was where I worked in college, and it's the owner's from Chicago, and we did have stuffed pizzas, we had deep dish pizzas, but the Chicago style pizza, it's super thin.
Yep.
It was,
Yep.
you know, that Oregano's pies are like that. Yeah. Thanks for the edification.
Yeah.
So this is the Jimmy G / pizza mock of the night, and I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it.
Man, all this pizza talk is gonna get me real hungry.
I think I'm gonna go to Prince Street, get some pizza here,
Ooh.
because I know Travis, you and I are on a break for the next hour.
Hour
so
break.
we're
Yeah, Johnny, we're gonna come back on just to eat that in your face, dude. I'm just kidding. I love you.
All right,
Just gonna join the
Johnny,
stream
Austin,
and not
you guys are both in Arizona, right?
No,
West
I
California.
am
born
I
and
am,
raised,
Yeah,
born and raised in
Where are
Arizona.
you from, Austin?
Central Arizona, Phoenix area.
Gotcha.
Born and raised there, and then went to school up in Flagstaff. Came out to Los Angeles in 2014.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of overlap between Colorado and Arizona establishments that Illegal Pete's, Chiba Hut. You know, they got some
Yeah.
places that you can
Yeah,
only find in
Chiba
these
Hut.
2 states. Chiba
Yeah.
Hut's good stuff. Just got that.
Well, we
yesterday.
all went to Flagstaff, Arizona. I feel like Flagstaff has such a same kind of Denver feel. Like it's that. I don't know. There's a lot of good eats and similar things and weather-wise and all that stuff.
Fratelli's is good pizza up in Flagstaff.
I like
That
Fratelli's.
even happened.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
you
just in,
drafted. You
Sedona
auto drafted.
recently.
It's like delayed.
Sedona's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. I was just
Sedona's
there a
rad.
couple years ago. Oh my god, it was amazing.
Arizona's a
You
cool
were in a
ass place.
sweat lodge out in Sedona, huh?
We didn't do
Tripping
a
on
sweat
some
lodge.
peyote?
No,
Getting some crystals.
We definitely did some drugs out in the desert, but no peyote.
Yeah, there we go, Dave.
I've had some threshold breaking experiences down at the Creek of Sedona.
Yeah.
A few times myself. Yes,
I can imagine. It is it's a fun place to just go
it's
lose
an incredible
yourself.
place. It really is. Lose
funny
yourself
though.
to find yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have Sigmund on talking about hallucinating. We got Dave on about losing yourself in the desert. I mean, by hour 14, this is just going to get real weird, and I love it.
Yeah, somebody's gonna be calling the plug later tonight.
Hey, the plug.
Yeah.
We've got we got Fantasy Couch. Was Fantasy Couch our last guest? 9 a.m. scheduled. He's got
he's actually our last guest with Inside the Pacific Time Zone on July 23rd. So he's the last one on Saturday. I've been crushing the schedule spreadsheet quite a bit. So
is it 24 hours that you guys are doing?
Yes,
dude. Come on, Dave. Yeah. I mean, we've got some breaks actually worked in this time around, but
dude, when we did this to start it off, man, like 4 years ago, 4 years ago, the plan was like Johnny and Travis were going to bulldoze white knuckle this as much as they could. And then I'm there to come in and just handle anything and everything else. And that night was in the basement of Travis's, the Playa del Rey house, the South House, as it is named. And it was just like a 40-person rager that was going on.
We had a good friend of ours, like so drunk, trying to get on the mic midstream and like standing over Austin. And I'm like staring on my break across the room. And I'm like, get him the fuck off the mic right now. Please get him
this
off
is our dream. This is a dream we're trying to create. And
it was awesome.
It was awesome. A bunch of my like hometown, like real life friends, and I was brand new, like into content creation. I'd ask them all the time, like, hey, can you just come, just join me on my show? And they're like, I don't want to be a part of your stupid podcast. And now a few years later, they're like, so when can I come on your podcast?
Yeah, you're like, screw you.
Well, we had one of our homies be like, hey, I think it was the Adam Rank stream on the last one. He's like, hey man, how much money do I need to pay to make sure I'm in on that stream? And we're like, join the Patreon, dude. That's where the initial links are coming out. He's like, but what if I just gave you like $50? And we're like, how about you just sign up at the $5 level, bro?
Yeah, dude.
Like, how about that?
For years. Come on, man.
And he's been a great supporter and contributor.
Yes.
So we're not saying him by name, but you know who you are, and we love you very much. And get fucked. Just kidding.
Get bodied.
I took a very cookie cutter approach to this draft. Just hammered wide receivers early and then just getting all my running backs late.
How you feeling about it? This is a dynasty startup, single quarterback. You're not normally used to it, but you're taking the plunge with us, Dave. How you feeling?
Yeah, there were a couple picks that I wish I had tweaked up, but it was kind of a weird spot the way the board was falling. I mean, there were just no running backs that I liked in rounds 7, 8, and 9. So Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Alan Lazard, probably didn't need them considering the wide receivers I already had, but I'll just keep loading up on value there, get some running backs late that I could just plug in throughout the season and just use some of those guys as trade bait in our fake league. That isn't going to happen.
Dude, I'm going to take a second on this. We haven't talked a lot about our squads we're coming into the last round. I told you, Dave, I've been just staring at Keep Trade Cuts dynasty rankings for so long. I've been just getting bored in our dynasty league and looking to see what kind of moves I can be making. And so this one I'm pretty stoked on. And I'm kind of loving this team right now. I don't know if my team makes it far this year, but just to get dudes like we've been so obsessed with like Chris Olave, talking about him in these and like, oh look, I got him and I got Breece Hall and I got George Pickens and I got Mechie and I got Pierce. Like I love all of these guys, and I'm just like been obsessed with the rookie draft this year. So now I'm just like, I got my hand on a bunch of them, and it just makes me feel so good because I could never get all these guys in our regular dynasty, and now I got them here, and I feel awesome. So I just wanted to say that.
A lot of rookies there. Almost half your draft picks are rookies.
Yeah.
Got the youth movement.
Well, I thought I could fill it up enough here. Like Breece Hall's going to start for me. Elijah Mitchell or Kareem Hunt are going to start for me. Josh Allen's going to start for me. Evans and Moore are going to start for me. And then it starts to get a little shaky after that. But I'm okay filling in a little bit of that shakiness with an Olave or a Pierce or a Jones.
Okay, dude. You can admit you're like Johnny and you hate old people.
Dude, I love old people.
Yeah.
I love
I don't know where
old
that
people.
came from.
I like old people so much more than young people. It's not in every way, shape, and form. Like, take it wherever you will. I'm
going off track a bit before the break, but I just think of Big Daddy, old wrinkly balls.
Dude, sorry to try to compliment you as a storyteller, Travis, that I instantly just get this picture in my head when you telling a story.
You're pulling on my heartstrings, Johnny. This is
makes
good.
me burst out laughing, and you go off on me like that and call me out. Unreal, dude.
You spanked him, man.
Yeah.
You spanked him because he got excited and you took offense.
I spanked him for the big nasty pizza.
Yeah.
We've been biting at each other. We've been a little short with each other as the stress has built up as these events have gone on, and children have been ushered into the world, and we've just incurred the normal stresses of living life every single day. Yeah. And so when Johnny laughs at Travis, he might get a little excited.
Yeah,
little quick.
Well, as Sigmund said, we know each other more than we would, even like to show to everybody else. And I thought that was that hit such a chord there. Like when you podcast as many hours as we have together, you see so much of us as humans.
I mean, Sigmund and Cecil, they've been doing.
That's what he called him his work husband. So that was
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, have you had a chance to meet Cecil yet? He's down
Not
in Denver.
yet, no.
I've met him a few times. Great guy, man. He's awesome.
I ripped through all their podcasts, so I really am into Cecil's vibe and his kind of prowess in the Denver area and his beat, his drum beats when he's talking about Denver sports for sure. So would love to one day, that's for sure. I need to get out and we need to have a beer, Dave. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be at the expo, Dave?
I don't think so. No.
Football guys, though, it's got a big thing, right?
All right, Dave's got to go.
They're going to be blown up. They're going to be one of the main sponsors there. I'm still recovering from my shoulder surgery. That was just less than 2 months ago, and just not feeling.
Yeah, we've been hearing this.
You're going to be on the pup. You're going to be on the pup or what?
Yeah, on the pup, exactly.
Looks like Dave hasn't been.
For the expo.
Yeah, Dave hasn't been training and making videos with Jesus, to tweet out. So,
Dave.
I see you get out there, Dave, and hike and stuff. So I hope that the recovery's going really well for you. I know you're saying you're not feeling 100% yet, but I hope it's
almost get my arm completely up over my head.
Oh, nice,
we're
dude.
Getting there. We're getting there.
Dave, I'm not going to put you on the spot here, but what I am going to ask is that you take a look at some of these squads, and Johnny and Travis, please, you know where I'm going to go with this one, so I'm going to kick it to you guys first while I preface this up. Dave, take a look at the rest of the squads, not your own team, which we've heard you break down, and really the rest of Whisper Nation here of who you either that stands out that deserves a toast or someone that stands out that might deserve a bit of a roast on here. Is there anybody here that particularly stands out that you'd like to toast or to roast? While you're taking a look at that really quickly, I'll kick it down to Johnny and Travi. Either one of you guys have a team that's caught your eye.
I got one that's jumping out.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, whoever Rhett DT is, I really like what they did there. That's a strong start with the receivers. And a lot of people right now, Chris Godwin really getting pushed down draft boards because of this injury. But
this is nice.
Still relatively young. And Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Chris Godwin, that's a heck of a start there.
Oh, look at this.
And then really sprinkled in some young, high upside running backs as well. I like it.
Dude, this is like, I mean, they did what I was trying to do, but just a little bit better. And I mean, I don't know if it does have as much.
Those are the exact players I was going for every round.
No, it wasn't the players, but it was the vibe.
It's awesome.
And I was looking for I could win now, but I'm good down the road. But look how like Jamison Williams, oh my God, DK Metcalf, Waddle, Jamar Chase, like that's fucking stacked. And then Ken Walker and Cook, like we'll see about the Cook, but like Ken Walker at least is like your long term. It's a nice, it's not a bad position to be in.
Yeah, I got sniped quite a few times by Red. I wanted James Cook, wanted Cole Kmet, wanted Kenny Gainwell. I mean, he was sniping me that whole draft, so I got to give him props. He did a good job there.
Way to go, Red. Johnny, Travis, anybody stand out to you you'd like to shout?
I was kind of working the back room, so let me take a look. You go for it, Johnny.
I was gonna say I actually really like Pizza Bellies too, right next to him. I think Pizza Belly did a really nice job when you're looking at Jefferson, Diggs. Sure, Henry could be on his way out. That's kind of high still for Dynasty, but if he ends up, it's a good win now. Like, this could be a contender this year with that trio of running backs. Henry, Zeke, and Gibson, like that, they could still get it done right now. Then you have the upside of Tony, Claypool, and Rondale. I do think that there's a good amount of upside for your flex right there, and then potentially a super flex. And we'll see what ends up happening with Claypool. He could become the number one, ultimately in a couple of years. So I think this is a really good team, and I think they're Johnny, competing.
I really like your team too, Johnny. Now that I'm taking a look, I think you probably could have waited on Burrow, but overall, I think that you did a great job there. I really like the way your team worked out.
Get a room.
Appreciate that.
Just kidding. I like Brokow's team. I thought that he did pretty well. It's a good mix of like youth and age. But like the age is guys that can dominate. Like I think he could be win now with some. He needs more wide receivers. I don't love the wide receiver depth, but I do think that he's got guys that are can contribute right away. So and I love the quarterback combo. I love the tight ends. Like he's got the youth and Nerve Smith to pair with Travis Kelce, and like Khalil Herbert. I just think it's a pretty decent squad that he put together here from the end.
Nice.
Hey, Khalil Herbert, he's starting in that territory now where if you want him, you got to pay up like 4 or 5 rounds ahead of ADP.
Yeah.
Right. Draft boards.
Like if you like Khalil Herbert, you're going to get him. And if you do like him, you're getting him way ahead of someone who's casually considering him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dave, this has been an absolute pleasure. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you and what you've been working on, brother?
Yeah, real simple nowadays. You can find me on Twitter at Dave Kluge. That's Dave, Kluge. You can find all my content, written and video, over at footballguys.com. Got the Football Guys Best Ball Show on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, I got the Football Guys Mailbag Show. On Thursdays, I got my short videos coming out. And on Fridays, I've got the Launchpad. So you can find me just about every day through the week at footballguys.com.
Woohoo! Love it. Love it.
Well, again, we appreciate you, Dave. Thanks for coming on the first 12 hours this time, and we'll have to get together soon out here in Colorado. But we'll
get a nasty boy
with you soon. Yeah,
late night
get a nasty
boy. Late night.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, appreciate you.
Appreciate
you
you,
guys.
Dave.
Thanks, fellas. Take it easy.
Appreciate you.
All right, we have another hour down.
Yeah,
we are about to be joined by Club Fantasy. These two are going to take their lunch break. So we're going to play a 5-minute clip. Then we'll be back and we'll jump into this mock draft 14-teamer. You two have a good lunch. Don't fall asleep.
Really quick. This while we're here, just because we just got a couple minutes here. I wonder any takeaways that you guys have had. Any like little summaries on this mock draft marathon, through this first bit of the experience.
Well, I just think it's amazing every year that we do this, that we just get new, like we talked about it after the first break too. Like we just get those conflicting, contrasting like takes, and that helps shape your perspective. Because again, we all get obsessed with being right or whatever in this industry, but I think it's more important to get the thought experiment fully fleshed out and actually understand what everybody's, take is on the other side, and then come to the conclusion to make good decisions. So that's always my favorite. Obviously, the guests are always a lot of fun, and we are just so grateful to have everybody on here, and we're grateful to get into this next round of guests as well, man. It's going to be amazing.
I like watching some of these guys that we've looked up to for so long have just human fantasy moments. Like when Matt Harmon missed his guy, or got sniped, and he freaked out and made a pick he didn't like afterwards. I'm like, oh, that is so something that Nick Thomas would do in our league of record. It's just you know what I mean? Like the relatability, and we're all in this game together.
Absolutely.
It's a lot more similar. I love it.
All right. Well, Johnny, roll that clip, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Love you, Joe. Love you, Faith. Love you guys. We'll see you next time. What?
Oh,
Davante Adams just got dealt to the Las Vegas Raiders.
This makes
for
sense.
2 prime 2022 picks.
Wow.
Las Vegas sends back a first-round pick, potentially move picks, and a player. Potentially more picks and a player. So at least a first-rounder for Adams, who we apparently couldn't get a deal done with.
Hey, can you send back Brian Edwards? Send back Brian Edwards, baby. Please. Send back Brian Edwards. I hope
he wants Brian Edwards. Yeah, I mean, former second-round pick,
Aaron
right?
Sure, I'll take.
Dude,
I'll
would
take
be a
Brian
beast.
Edwards.
We don't have a wide receiver.
We're playing Alan Lazard and flipping.
Hey,
I mean, I know he's probably not coming back, but Adams was a surefire first rounder. Surefire, probably.
Wow, this is
middle first rounder. Are we taking him there with Derek Carr?
I'm not.
Are you going to get Davante Adams at a? You're going to get Davante Adams at a bargain this year. I'd take him. You're going to get him at a bargain. I mean, now again, would I take him number 1 overall now? No. Or number 2 overall now? No. But now you will get him at a value because people don't trust in Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a really.
You're buying him. You're buying him as a solid option. He's okay. First, okay, he's not going to be better.
You know what?
He's not going to be better.
Good. That's going to be a great double dip to go after. I'm just saying it. Carr and Davante Adams this year could be a fantastic double dip that wins a lot of people championships.
You're totally right. With the,
I think that's the bigger question. I'll let you finish, Austin, but I have a follow up.
The question is, what does this do for Davante Adams' value? It hurts it. The question is how much. Little to nothing or significantly. For me, it's tough to take Adams in the first round now because a principle of mine in the first round is risk aversion. I'm a very pro risk drafter, not in the first round though. That's where I like to pick up my solid bets as much as possible. And now Davante Adams, to Johnny's point, absolutely could be a bargain. He could be just as good. But he also could slip pretty far down and be like a high-end wide receiver too. And I don't want to take that in the first round.
And he could. And I think there's a story where that could happen. I don't think he goes in the first round. I think he goes in the second where DeAndre Hopkins kind of was going last year. And I think that's going to be okay value if you get him as a wide receiver 1, because I do think he's going to finish there. But remember, something interesting happened with the Raiders last year. We thought it would be Waller. Renfro started coming along. They started getting the ball into other guys' hands. Derek Carr was spreading it around. So there are actually better weapons in Vegas than I would say there are in Green Bay, and at least a quarterback that's willing to spread the ball around. Yeah, they played with each other in college, but Rodgers and Adams had a absolute mind meld.
Right here.
That's what it is.
Live.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
You know how Johnny's doing. I don't even need to ask.
Johnny's live.
Hey, what about you? He is live. He is alive on this one, and I love it. How about you, Travi? How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. It's I woke up. I'm alive. I worked. I am blessed.
Not bad, man.
People still love me. It's all good.
When you ask someone how they're doing, they say they're alive.
Really is. No, usually you can say that with some sarcasm. Like when people say, "Well, I got out of bed," I woke up. Honestly, I think most of the time people say that they're just pissed.
Yeah,
they're just like, fucking woke up still.
Which is why we reserve Mondays for the mock draft to keep us all sane. And if you're just tuning in here, Whisper Nation, we do our mock draft Mondays every single Monday, really no matter what point in the year it is. And, well, not during the regular season, but every other point other than that. So make sure you are liked and subscribed to the YouTube page, as well as follow us over on Twitter and Instagram, where we got a lot of content coming out your way.
Welcome back, Whisper Nation, to the Mock Draft Marathon, 4th annual. I'm your boy, John Game Time, and this week, this hour 9, your boy is going, there's a whole gang of people that we're bringing to you this time. Club Fantasy, FFL, that's right, repping. Listen, we there's going to be so many of us that, and so many takes, your boy had to go on with you guys. I know it's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. We got Ryan Weiss. We got Faith. We got Chris Molina and Joe Zolo in the house. How are we doing?
At Bismarck Clarks.
At Bismarck Clarks.
Yeah.
I would just like to state, Johnny brings me in first because I'm the face, and then talks about me last because he saves the best for last. So I just want to say, Johnny, great intro. Great intro.
I had to. It's like movie magic is what they call it, or
It's
streaming
beautiful.
magic, I should say.
Yeah.
But we have a 14-teamer mock draft going on.
Heck
And
yeah.
we got this thing full already. We got it full. I want to know, did you guys, how did we choose our spots? Are these spots that we like, or are these just spots that you're like, we'll see what happens. I'm not comfortable drafting here.
I'm used to winning leagues, so I always like to start at the end. It's just
Oh.
Ha, ha, ha.
For any
love
of
it.
you watching, it appears that both Joe and Ryan are simultaneously vying for the self-proclaimed title of humblest man of Club Fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm most humble man in the world, I think.
Johnny, answer your
Case
question.
in point.
I love the middle of the draft. I think it's the best spot. I think it's a terrible rep. I think it's the best spot in the draft. So I took 6.
Even in a 14-team league, I don't know. I'll take number 10.
All right, that's fair.
All of my drafts thus far, I've been sitting around. Actually, I think most of them are at the 2 spot. So I'm like, let's see what the middle of the draft feels like. What's it feel like to be average?
I want to know how ugly quarterback's going to get with the Superflex, so I'm going to have fun with this.
All right. Well, one last thing before we have just one more little piece of business that we need to attend before we jump into the mock draft. I'm going to put Joe solo on this one because,
Oh, God.
he mentioned, but you guys want to let Whisper Nation know about yourselves and where they find you on social media and any other important things that are going on.
Oh boy! All right, I get solo.
I just know that Joe can really talk. So
Joe, if you talk about what I should talk about,
don't worry. I'll throw that in there. I'll do my normal outro. So you can find us at Club Fantasy FFL on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. But for the month of August, and Faith, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's in 3 weeks we start, correct?
Yep.
About that time. In 3 weeks,
10th.
we start our Women of Fantasy football shows on August 10th, where Faith and Kelly and Phoenix. Kelly will be taking over Club Fantasy for the entire month of August, basically leading up until week 1 of the NFL season, bringing on amazing women in the fantasy football industry. You can find more about that, womenoffantasyfootball.com. Just a spot on our website as well, but if you type that directly into your URL, it'll go straight to that. Ryan does, just like you guys do on Mondays, Ryan does a mock draft on Mondays now as well, kind of an ode to you guys. I know he got inspired from you guys on that, so we do those as well. And then starting in the season, we love to do our Start Sit Different Day shows on Saturdays, so we take it a day early from where most everyone else does it, and I just enjoy getting to make fun of people and their questions. I'm not gonna lie, it's the comedic aspect for me. But
I get to take over as host for Starts a Different Day, and Joe just gets to shit on people, which is his favorite thing in life.
Hey, it's all about finding what people are the best at. That's and balance. There you go. So that's what make, and I could say this because Austin's not on the stream right now, but this is what makes Bill Belichick the greatest coach of all time, because he puts players in the right position to succeed. That's it.
I want to say something real quick before we get started.
Absolutely.
If we were only going to be on with one of you, I'm happy it's you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Let me be very clear, though.
This.
All right.
I love this.
I've been watching all day, and I've been watching your show as much as I can, but I haven't had a chance to personally tell you, I fucking love the hair. You are gorgeous.
Hey,
You are gorgeous.
Thank you.
Ryan is living vicariously through you because
he can't grow it.
He can grow it, but I don't think his wife would like him to grow it much longer.
They cut it too short this last time. I was going long. I was never going to get that long. I don't have that discipline, but I just want you to know I'm impressed and I adore it. So
I appreciate it.
Also, I want to follow up on what Joe said because he did leave out Women of Fantasy Football at women_FF on Twitter.
Thank you.
You'll find links to our raffles that we'll be doing during Women of Fantasy Football, our guest lineup, all of that fun stuff. So follow there.
Appreciate that. Thank you for clarifying that.
Boom.
All right. Are we ready? Are we ready to get this 14-teamer started?
Let's go.
Ready as we'll ever be.
I won't give my Larks plug until the end of the.
I'm like, Travis made the sleeper links, and so he's having to start the draft. So I'm like trying to communicate with him.
This guy.
Hey, we didn't think everything through.
That's okay.
So, but we live and we learn. So Travis will be starting this very temporarily. He knows he's on standby. He's probably just grabbing his pizza, and then we'll get this started.
Break.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Love that.
Chris, have you done any articles lately you'd like to tell the people about?
Yeah.
You haven't had a chance to talk yet.
Yeah.
Just a smooth transition there to Club Fantasy article, of course.
Yeah.
So Josh Allen, I wrote about him.
Who?
I know in the fantasy community, quarterbacks, you don't want to take quarterbacks early, but I made my case as to why Josh Allen might be deserving of the, end of the second, early third price tag that he's going at. Speaking of Josh Allen.
Yeah, speaking of Josh Allen,
The devil.
going early here. So you don't think you should go that early?
Well, I mean, in a Superflex, he's definitely the 101, but in a 1 QB league, I would possibly take a chance on him in the early third, late second. I think he could have like a Lamar Jackson-esque season.
So yeah, Chris was on the pro side of taking him early, whereas the fantasy community is like, never take a quarterback early. Are you doing this again, Johnny?
I saw the last one.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean? He says.
Hey, I get 24 of these things. I got to try out a bunch of different things, and I also want to beat the drum and let it be known when people watch this back. Hey, your boy was all along on the Justin Jefferson #1.
Well, you guys in the last Superflex, while we're getting this draft started, you guys let me grab Jefferson and Kelsey at the 12-1 turn.
I literally didn't.
You got auto draft screwed so many times in that draft.
Oh my gosh, that really hurt. But yes, I definitely looked at that and I was like, I know that I shouldn't be taking this pick, but I'm gonna let Jefferson slide on this one. And then of course you grab him.
Yeah.
And you grabbed Carr and Cousins, which I was definitely
filthy.
Yeah. Well done. Well done on that.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say I got them at the
Rodgers.
3-4. Oh yeah, you were in that too. So yeah.
Oh yeah. That was really good value on Rodgers.
You got two quarterbacks that lost their best weapon. Congratulations, Chris.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Somehow the NFL will still manage to give him the MVP.
Well, what do we have here?
Yeah, you're on the clock. What are you thinking right now?
Oh boy.
Oh, you're gonna take
Cooper Kupp. The real #1 wide receiver.
It's be tough when Allen Robinson takes all his targets.
You're getting a lot of people are gonna be disappointed.
110 of them.
Hey, keep chasing those points from last year because they don't really count this year.
Let me explain. You're attacking Cooper Kupp here.
I like Cooper Kupp.
He had 190 targets. He could go down to 150, 160, and still easily be the #1.
So we're attacking you, Chris. Let's be.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't attack.
No, I know, but I'm living vicariously through Cooper Kupp, so it's.
Yeah. Or what you could imagine it would be like, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that I just like the amount of touchdowns the fact he got a triple crown, which is rarely ever done. You're bound to regress. Like so it just seems like you're just going to shoot yourself in the foot with disappointment because there is no upside because he already reached the pinnacle.
Are we just accepting that, Chris? I was waiting for you to come out.
Well, I didn't know how much you guys wanted me to talk. I mean,
Chris, you are a prominent member of our team. You talk as much as you want. Johnny just said Cooper Kupp is trash, and you're just like, cool.
Dude,
whatever.
It's so
100+ points on the #2 wide receiver. Of course, he's gonna regress.
I love it.
He could regress.
In all seriousness,
still beat out by 50 points.
In all seriousness, though, and maybe we're not worried about a Cooper Kupp regression, but are we worried about 34-year-old Matt Stafford not being as good as he was last year?
Speak of the devil.
No.
Okay. Well, I was gonna stack them. Speaking of, damn it!
You were going to, but now you're not anymore.
Yeah.
Just Incredible is like, haha, sucker.
That's his revenge. Just Incredible was all in the chat bitching about when this draft was going to get started, so he had to.
Yeah, so he's taking his anger out on these picks.
Exactly.
He's like, you guys will never get who you want. I get that. No, it's so funny too, Ryan, when you say like, oh, Johnny's hating on saying he's the worst, he's trash, because that's literally how it is with the guys sometimes. Like apparently I'm just like the biggest George Kittle hater of all time on the planet. And
I heard him giving you a hard time on that.
Yeah,
too.
But the thing is it's not that I agree that hey, if I like the way that we had I'm blanking, but we had a guest on and they talked about how George Kittle would be the tight end if aliens came down, Space Jam, but football meets football. And he's like, George Kittle would be that tight end that you would choose. And I 100% agree with that statement. But that also coincides with him also getting Josh Allen as the quarterback in that hypothetical game. And that entices me a whole lot. But the fact that George Kittle is getting Trey Lance this year and in the first, at least we'll see how well he can progress because he only completed 50% of his passes. I think that Kittle's going still too high. I think we're chasing the pie in the sky breakout that we saw a few years ago. Now, again, do I think he's a terrible tight end? No, I just don't like where he's going in ADP value right now. What do you guys think? Is that
I missed it. Who are we talking about? George Kittle?
George Kittle.
George Kittle. Okay, yeah.
You hate on him.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for Trey Lance to throw the ball into the ground targeting him. That's going to be a fun time. I can't wait that the J Knobs has Trey Lance as his number 1 quarterback, and he's going to lose every fictitious game in this mock draft. So,
oh my goodness,
guys, yes, I had the fortune as working for the Larks. We actually had a 49ers offensive lineman come to Bismarck to play in a celebrity softball game.
Which one?
And,
is this insider information?
No, this is not insider information.
Okay.
His name was Daniel Brunskill. He started all 17 games. He didn't miss a snap.
Well, you didn't need to mention his name, man. Like I didn't.
I asked for it.
I'm not about.
Now you're about to get tweeted
He's not
at,
above
dude.
a name drop.
Listen, I'm not above a name drop at all.
We know.
He came in. I asked him the question because we're obviously in North Dakota. I asked him, "Hey, how do you feel about Trey Lance?" And he said, I think a very good answer. He said, Trey's been working his butt off. He's a great team guy. He's going to be a great leader for us. Not anywhere in that sentence did he say Trey Lance is a good quarterback. Not anywhere in that sentence did he say that.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit. Not even just a slight like Trey's a good quarterback. No, he basically bounced around the question that Trey Lance probably isn't ready.
Did he say that he was a bad quarterback?
He didn't say he was a bad quarterback, but he also didn't say he was a good quarterback. So,
well, and speaking about the aforementioned George Kittle, he kind of said the same kind of answer when he was asked about it on a podcast. They said, well, how was Trey Lance? And he was like, listen, he makes some throws that you really are like, wow, how do you make that throw? And then he's like,
misses the
and
easy
he's going to be electric. He said, like, yeah, he's going to be electric. And he said that, he might not translate into wins right away, but you just got to take your lumps in order to, you just got to get in there. And so at that kind of tells me again, to Joe's point, like if this guy was really good and he needs to be the quarterback, they wouldn't be dancing around and saying, oh, he's a good locker guy, or, oh, he, dances on his TikTok well.
They still wouldn't have Jimmy Garoppolo signed to a contract when they can cut him for nothing. They wouldn't still have that.
But they gave him permission to seek a trade. I don't think there's any smoke where that fire where that smoke is. I don't think that's a thing.
I think Kyle Shanahan blows smoke up everybody's asses, so I don't believe a single word that dude says.
So do you think Jimmy Garoppolo has a legit chance to start for the 49ers this season?
Fuck no. But it's funny to talk about it like that.
Okay, because you're an asshole.
Yeah, because I'm an ass. He's still on the roster. He's still on the roster, and Trey Lance is there. He's still on the roster. That's still something to potentially look at. Trey Lance will start. You're just going to be disappointed that you now have Trey Lance and Matt Ryan as your 2 quarterbacks. I don't know who the J Knobs is, and I'm sorry. I apologize. I hope you tune in to our shows. But at this point, great running back pick. There you go. Great running back pick. I love Eckler.
The J Knobs is in Ryan and Mai's four-eyed division.
So graciously helps us fill this draft out, and Joe's just destroying him.
I mean, I can destroy everybody if we need to even the playing field.
To be fair, if you tuned in during Josh's hour, the fans were begging for people to start destroying some of these drafts. So having me and Joe on is magnifique for that. So
having you and Joe on in the same hour just seems like overkill.
It might be overkill.
Overkill. Yeah. Overkill.
I wouldn't have it any other way with you buffoons.
Usually I let Joe be Joe be the mean one, and I'll turn to nice. But Johnny, go. We're cutting you off. This is what you get for having 4 guests.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is we did plan for this. Hey, we did plan for
That's
this.
why 2 of them left.
That's why they went to lunch, because I was like, oh, this is going to be great because we'll all be conversating quite often. Yeah. So speaking of spreading the love, though, Travis, hit us with this.
I love it.
$10. Much love for our club FFAM. So, hey, if you guys should join in, I feel like. Even if you don't want to, that's definitely okay. But we're going to hit them with the Whisper Nation. Woo! Woo! Let's go. Appreciate you, Travis.
Pump it up.
Yeah. Well, now
just to feed my own ego, I dropped 25 on the Venmo earlier today.
Yes, you did.
Once again, Ryan proving that he is in fact so humble.
So I'm like 2.5 better than Travis, but it's all right.
The best at being humble.
Yeah, you hear that, Travis? Calling you out.
Yeah, Travis.
Unbelievable.
I feel like telling Johnny that I was glad he was here, and then saying this. My invite is getting further and further away next year.
Further and further down the list. You're on the waiting list, Ryan. You're like number 15.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, hey, I guess we have an opening. Do you still want to do this? I mean,
no, we loved you guys. That was the hard part. It's like we had some people hitting us up, and like, we're just like, it filled up faster than we thought it would, to be honest with you, and so
because everybody loves us.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. It's great having you guys on for the 4th year. 4.
Yep.
Even though people were saying my logos look like MDMA, which
I saw that.
Yeah.
How would they know what MDMA looks like?
Ooh, because
it's a question.
It's letters.
Yeah,
they're saying it looks like MDMA.
Yeah,
not the actual drug.
Not hashtag. Your boy just tries to get a hashtag going, and this is what I get. So, but it's all good.
I see a 4, mostly because I'm not a delinquent.
Yeah, this is why you get things approved with the group before you just put them up.
This is why you ask somebody with an eye for detail.
Yeah, these are facts.
Or you simultaneously push fantasy football, mock drafting, and party drugs. One or the other.
I mean, it does go hand in
hand.
For what it's worth, we at Club Fantasy
allegedly.
do not condone the use of illegal drugs. Just ask our defense attorney up there.
I have not been listening to any of that conversation.
Allegedly.
No, he is zoned in.
Chris is actually watching the draft.
Yeah,
we allegedly do not use illegal drugs.
Chris, I'm going to. We've been playing this game, and I think I'm going to start like doing it or asking halfway. If you want to start looking for a did I say Joe? I meant Chris.
No, I was yelling.
No,
at
you
Joe.
said Chris.
Oh, you got a snipe. Okay.
Yeah.
A roast or toast team just through this first half of the draft, and then I will be asking each of you guys accordingly throughout the draft. So if you want to just keep an eye, you can either roast or toast a team.
Okay.
So let me know.
And everyone knows me. I'm a nice guy, but I have to roast Death by Rona on this one. It looks no QBs, 3 running backs right away.
We're seeing a few of these.
Yeah, no QBs sucks, right, Johnny?
Exactly.
No. Here's where it differentiates. It's a 3 wide receiver league. So to get your first wide receiver in the 4th round while you're not taking quarterbacks, that's tough. That's tough.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Come on.
You guys can roast my team. I'll be honest. I did not notice it was a super flex. I
didn't either until the draft started.
But what's crazy is like I've looked at that title like 4 times in this mock because somebody was talking about it earlier, and I'm like looking at this. I'm like,
if you need any proof that you're tired, the first round should have really cued you in.
Yeah,
this being super flex.
Yeah, like, Josh Allen and Mahomes 101, 102. What's going on here?
This would have been a very different draft conversation if this was a single QB, because it'd be like, what the hell are these people doing?
Right. This guy.
And I mean, if it's single QB, me getting Jonathan Taylor at the 1-7 is like a damn steal.
That's fair.
Johnny, I mean, it's going to be a great day when Daniel Jones enters your starting lineup. So.
If he should be so lucky.
Yeah.
Well, I watched the draft earlier. I watched their last Superflex with Josh, and Johnny just kept passing on quarterback, and it ended up being Trubisky and Deshaun Watson. And so, and Johnny, I
did that one on purpose. I know you were.
I thought you might have, but I wanted to ask you about 2 players you skipped in that draft, and I know it's kind of not great to talk about players who haven't been drafted yet, but
Josh Hudson would yell at you so much. You skipped right now.
Daniel Jones in those middle rounds, which I totally get the rushing upside, but the one that shocked me, because you guys had talked about him earlier in the draft, was Davis Mills. I think it was your 10th or 11th round pick, and you grabbed a wide receiver, and Mills went about 7 picks later, and I was really shocked that you guys had just talked up Mills. Josh specifically on that show had talked up Mills. Are you anti-Davis Mills, or was that just throw this draft to the wind and see what sort of happens sort of thing?
No, to be honest with you, I do like Mills as like a secondary quarterback. I think that he is an absolute steal. I was looking at him in the Scott Fish Bowl as well, because I do think, surprisingly, he actually does complete on certain games. Again, if they're trying to majorly come back and whatnot, then kind of goes down, of course. But like he actually throws above 60%, a decent amount. And so I do think that he has value. And again, Lovie Smith took like Sexy Rexy and kind of made him a decent, quarterback. And so I do think that having very good wide receivers, I do like him as a secondary quarterback. With that said, I did mess up there was like a couple of guys I was eyeing. Daniel Jones, missed him, kind of got in my head a little bit. So
and you auto-picked like 3 times that draft. They kept talking to you while you were picking.
I know. It was really frustrating. Thank you for noticing that, by the way, because yes, that was
Thank you for pointing that out.
That was part of it too. Because like I said, I really wanted to grab either Carr or Cousins with that.
I thought you did. I really took advantage of you auto-picking there because I knew you were going to try to. And then not only that, I didn't know if you guys were going to fix picks. And so I made my picks as fast as possible just to make sure you couldn't have either one of them. So.
Ooh, do you guys do that on your show? Fix picks?
Fix picks? No, not at all.
Okay. That is an interesting thing.
Speaking of fixing picks, so Josh Hudson and I were part of the Orlando live draft for Scott Fish Bowl.
Okay.
And hold on.
Go ahead and make a pick. I do want to have a side. How was it drafting in person? Because that seemed like a blast.
It was so much fun.
I'd love to do that. And the problem for me was like I'm in the shout out to the Gilbert, Arizona League. I had picked it because I was like, oh, these probably like all these people are probably going to be around me, branch out, and so no, we had like 2 people that were in London. And so it's just like their picks were always there's this one guy, it's kind of funny, but yeah, he ends up always taking like 8 hours per pick. Just like
I did the exact same thing. I picked Canton, Ohio, because I'm from that area, and like 2 other people in the entire draft are from there. And then we have just the slowest draft. It got so bad we had someone leave our group chat because he was so angry at how slow the draft was. And people basically were like, it's a slow draft and it's middle of summer, bro. And he did not accept that as an answer and just dipped out of the group chat.
Wow.
So
Zach Wilson, huh?
I have to go with the upside here.
You have to go with any starting quarterback you can get.
It was low key.
But it'll make sense in just a second.
Okay. So back to my story.
When he drafts Garrett.
You were talking about fixing picks. And in the Orlando live draft, there were 3 different rounds drafting simultaneously. 2 on Sleeper, 1 on MFL. So I was one of the Sleeper leagues. Then there was another Sleeper league. Somebody placed a sticker for James Cook instead of Dalvin Cook in like the 2nd round.
Yeah.
But they were all nice enough and let him pull it, like let him switch. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And so my division over at Magic Kingdom, we were like, no, once it touches the board, you're done.
No.
Like, there's no fixing anything.
Yes.
100%. Own up to your mistake. That's your mistake.
Sticker.
It's your mistake.
It's a draft, though. Once it touches the board,
it's not like they said, I want James Cook. I mean Dalvin Cook. Like, they straight up just grabbed the wrong sticker.
Yeah,
that's on them.
Wow, that is pretty cold-blooded.
Oh, we were. We would have been like, yeah, if you were over here, nope,
Trash.
You're stuck with James Cook.
Wow.
Okay, Johnny. So explain to me the Zach Wilson, Dalton Schultz combo, because you did say, it'll make sense in a second.
Oh, damn it, Johnny.
Yeah, that's right. Also, shout out to Ryan because, I thought Schultz was going about where you should take him, and then Ryan wrote this awesome article about Dalton Schultz and why he should not only either meet his ADP or exceed that based on, volume or potential volume that he could see. And I thought it was like, it just fully convinced me that like Dalton Schultz is one of the best values at the tight end position right now. And so, looking at this draft again, my draft isn't complete. I have a few things to do, but I'm liking the way that it's shaping out with how I'm building it out. And I thought that getting Dalton Schultz, which is that kind of last puzzle piece that I do think it's like, all right, he's either going to meet this or he's going to exceed it, barring, injury. And so it's like at that point, if you're building your team that way, I think you can count on it. So
no, I agree 100%. Schultz actually graded out to be my tight end 3. I just thought you were going, Zach Wilson, another jet stack with the way you set it up.
No, maybe if a guy falls to me,
maybe
I like him.
Did you just say maybe, baby Joe?
Maybe, baby. Yeah.
Such a pervert.
Not a pervert. just a dude who
I
has a
had
microphone in his face every day.
I had the pleasure of meeting Joe in person for the first time recently, and I just want to state for the record that the Joe that you see in any sort of anything is legitimately Joe 24/7.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he doesn't even drink caffeine.
Caffeine or booze. It's great. Yeah. I live my life drug-free, folks.
How does that happen?
How does that happen? Let me tell you, Johnny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. I have fans.
Caffeine is great.
So for my job at Bismarck Larks, I'll plug it right now, 30 minutes into our segment.
Yeah.
So for my job, I am the on-field host. So that involves me being on a microphone every single home game. I get up on the dugout, do dances. I'm doing skits with the mascots. Announcing games, all these different things. And once a game, without a doubt, without fail, every single time, nice pick, Ryan. Every single time I am asked, how do you prepare for a game? Do you drink caffeine? What do you do? How much caffeine do you drink? I'm like, I'll drink anything. I have a Body Armor, sponsor me. I have a Body Armor before every single game. Don't know if that helps.
Pregnant women or recovering pregnant women love it. It's supposed to really
recovering pregnant women.
All right, fine.
Yeah, my wife just gave birth, and so she's been
congratulations.
Yeah. So thank you. I'm a new dad. New girl.
I need
dad.
more baby
That's
details.
awesome.
Screw fantasy football. We need baby details here.
Body Armor's for real.
It is.
real.
It is really good.
Yeah.
Juniper Joy. That's her.
Oh my god, I love it.
Juniper Joy game time. Nice.
Yep.
Juniper Joy game time.
Already trying to teach
JJG.
her. Yeah, exactly. That's honestly Juniper. That's when my wife had said that name because I really like the name Jolene. That's what I was pushing for. And yeah.
Nice.
So that's the name I was pushing for, but then my wife said Juniper, and I was like, oh, that is interesting. You don't hear it very often. And then I was like, I'm a big nickname person, and I was like, oh, there's so
Junie?
many nicknames with that. Yeah, Junie, June,
JJ.
Junebug,
JJ.
yeah, and then actually my wife's because we hyphenated her last name, so my wife's name is just much cooler than mine. Mine's just Hicks, but my wife's is Jurian's, and so it is Triple J as her.
J Jonah Jameson.
So, but she's awesome. She keeps me, she prepared me well for this mock draft marathon because, she keeps me up.
You awake?
Because you don't sleep.
Don't sleep. So I'm pretty used to it. So, but yeah, she's been awesome. And I do want to take this second to say thank you to my wife. Shout out to her because she is holding it down right now.
Yes.
So I can do something like work and, mock draft. Really, I feel kind of guilty for that. I'm like, oh,
Faith. Thank you.
So
thank you. Oh, I would have been so angry.
I thought about picking Renfro.
Oh, Cook. I do like Cook.
Are you sure you didn't mean Dalvin Cook? Sorry, just checking. 8th round. You sure you didn't mean Dalvin?
He's still available, right?
Yeah, stickers on the board, so you can't take it back. I
stickers
just
on the
wanted to make sure. Yeah. Oh, God.
So this is a conversation I've never really gotten into on a Superflex draft before.
Let's do it. That's
Let's
what the
have it
show's
now.
about. Yeah.
Dude,
Do we
rip it out.
really?
Ask away.
So, especially in a 14-team league, and it's something I've kind of explored with my Scott Fish build, is how important is it to really land your second quarterback? Because
Not at all.
And so, Joe, your draft is what's making me go with this because, I know Rob Motts, our Motts there. He's a friend from my home league. I don't know how much Superflex knowledge or experience he has. I don't even know if he knows for a fact that this is a Superflex draft, even though I told him that. But Joe, you very clearly do. And so you have Russ, and then you've just built a team around Russ. So are you just full on saying, who cares about getting the average quarterback for your Superflex, I would rather be able to start as many wide receivers as I can.
Yeah, and I also did not realize that I am incredibly high on the Denver Broncos this year. So, because
so you should be.
I have him.
A lot of
Javonte.
people are. Yeah,
Yeah, I have him, Javonte, and Sutton, and I'll name drop. I don't care. I will probably take Tim Patrick later in this draft if no one takes him.
Tim. TP.
So like I'm incredibly high on the Broncos. I think Russell Wilson ends as the QB3. Now this may be my buddy who I work with every day. He's a major Broncos fan. He sends me every single Russell Wilson tweet and every single Denver Broncos tweet relating to Russell Wilson.
That's a little creepy. I'm not going to lie.
It's not creepy. It's just that's him.
Yeah. That's like
in North Dakota, that's just life.
Yeah, that's just life. Johnny, there's nothing to do except Lark's games and follow the Denver Broncos Twitter account apparently.
Stalking men on the internet.
Yeah. So he sends me all the time, but like Peyton in his first year in Denver, whole new system. The weapons that he has a better offensive line.
Don't
he has
say he's gonna get 50 tutties. You think?
I do not think he's getting. I do not think he's getting 50 touchdowns. But his legs on the like in the red zone could be used pretty effectively. I mean, Rodgers was known to scramble a little bit in the red zone. Not like they weren't designed runs, but known to scramble a little bit in the red zone.
Damn it!
Obviously, coming over from Green Bay, Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know why. I love Cortland Sutton and I love Russell Wilson in the tandem. Jerry Jeudy's going to get injured, so sorry to BroCal38. You know, that 6th-round pick's right down the drain, my buddy. I apologize. And that's why I'm high on Tim Patrick. So I'm not like wishing that he gets injured. I'm just saying that's going to happen. No, I'm not going to time out because I am going to take this guy.
He was buying his time.
First guy I saw. I honestly have also no problem taking him right there. No problem.
This is about where he should go, and he's turning into a real value in the mocks I've been doing lately. So.
Especially in PPR.
Michelle Majuk.
Dang it, Faith.
100% turned me like rails on to Kenneth Gainwell. He's by far my late round asset right now.
Well, I mean,
very happy with it.
I was going to take both Brandon Ayuk or Bobby Trees, so I had to go with option C.
So you had to go with the wide receiver one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a good pick in the 9th round.
Wide receiver one.
Why do
you wouldn't say that if Josh was here?
I say that to Josh.
He does.
So just real quick, we still think Notre Dame can produce NFL talent at skill position?
Yeah, just wait till
shit.
Wait till Deontay's on another team and they pay his Claypool.
Ryan, real quick. Who is tight end ranked 126 right now overall on the board that went to Notre Dame? Real quick. Who is he and how many touchdowns did he have last year? Yeah.
He's definitely had 0 touchdowns last year.
Yeah. 0 touchdowns. Like Notre Dame has produced 0 effective skill position players in the NFL in recent years. So,
well, all it takes is one to open up that dam. That's it.
Yes.
Well, according to Joe, the dam never opens because if they've never done it, they never can do it. It's
right.
TCU, Jalen Reagor.
I've worked with Joe for a lot of shows now, and normally we're just having fun and we fuck with each other. But his connection with if they went to this school who's never done it, they'll never do it is the most frustrating part of working with Joe.
There's always got to be a first, Joe.
Not according to Joe.
Well,
can we?
He just hasn't experienced that yet.
Poverty college.
Like, ooh.
Can we go back to his Russell Wilson, Peyton Manning?
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
I do want to say. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, I thought Chris had something to say in that whole thing. So
go ahead.
Yes, I did because Peyton Manning did not throw 50+ touchdowns.
Do I take this tight end?
He threw 55.
I take him?
Yeah.
Do I do it?
Claypool or Komet.
You already took the tight end for Pittsburgh. What do you mean?
Take Komet.
Do not take Komet.
Double up on that.
But yeah, Chris.
Go ahead.
I want you.
Peyton Manning's first year in Denver, he was the QB6. It wasn't until his second year that he threw 50+ touchdowns.
Oh,
I just want to
love
throw
it
that out there.
I'll take Wilson as the QB6. I'm not.
Even though you took him as the QB4.
Yes. Yes. No, regression of 2 spots.
Got him trapped, bitch.
Yeah.
Shit.
The other thing,
especially because you passed up on.
Yeah, that does bring up a good point, and too, Joe, because earlier you did say, if Russell Wilson, scrambles and gets into the red zone or end zone a little bit more, he always had that opportunity. He just never did it because he always looks to throw. But I will say, I do think he does throw to Sutton a lot. I do think Sutton is going to be a beast.
Yeah, my guy.
I'm also now Team Sutton.
Oh, welcome. I love that.
Really?
That makes me feel good.
I'm Team both.
Joe. If you would ever do a show with us, you would understand. But
Wow.
That's honestly,
what
that's
I feel
shocking.
I feel like there should be a Monday where you guys cross mock.
Oh, absolutely. I'm all for it.
We had talked about that, and then it just never came to fruition.
The problem is Ryan,
you West Coasters.
Yeah, Ryan does it when it's 5 a.m. here.
Guy.
Well, let's also be clear. I picked
Technically, it's only 8 a.m. on the
I also
West
do want to
Coast.
say, though, I picked early in the morning to not step on the toes of the OGs, and so I wanted to make sure that you guys had your spotlight at all times.
So 11 a.m. Eastern is 8 a.m. Pacific, and you can't tell me that you're not awake with a newborn at 8 a.m.
They vacation in Hawaii all the time, Faith.
Yeah, no.
They got it like that.
Actually, to that point, it's basically because my baby loves to. I think she's going to be a future partier because she'll stay up. She stays up till 1 a.m. No joke, and then she'll sleep from 1. Yeah, she'll sleep from 1 to 6 o'clock, and then she'll get up. My wife will feed her, and then she will pass back out until about 9 or 10. And so oftentimes that is, I'm going to go upside here. So oftentimes, because we go to bed so late, I do sleep till 8 or 9. So
how old is Juniper?
She is a little over a month old. I should know the exact weeks, but it's yeah,
it's
dude.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. They go by really, I get it now. When people say they go by really, really fast. Because I just feel time was already going by fast, and then we had her, and it's oh wow, she's already been alive for over a month.
I wanted you to be well, I last slept full on June 11th.
No, dude. I honestly, it's just can I get over? I judge it by is it a good night if you get over 4.5 hours to 5 hours of sleep. That's if I can do that at least, then
knew you were going there, Faith.
It's gravy.
Oh, I wrote an article about it or anything.
And Death by Rona officially drops down to last in the best teams.
Officially enemy of Club Fantasy.
Didn't know. Well, I was gonna say I was saving it for the end of the show, but my goodness!
All right, buzz in.
His team was actually terrible before that pick.
Roast him.
Dude. Ryan, go ahead. No, you first.
It's the all IR running back team. Now I will say McCaffrey and Henry should be very good picks, but in a super flex, I don't think it's going to be the way you want to start.
3 wide receiver.
And then obviously we adore Keenan Allen, Club Fantasy guy. Everything's perfect. That was your last good pick.
Last or only?
Oh.
Well, I'm not going to call McCaffrey a bad pick or Henry, so I will say 3. Deshaun Watson likely not to play for 6 weeks. Daniel Jones maybe gets to play for 6 weeks. Michael Thomas, who knows if he's going to play. Kadarius Toney may not be a giant. You don't know where he's going to end up. Mariota, another guy on a very short leash. Christian Watson, Aaron Rodgers doesn't like rookie wide receivers. And Cole Kmet is going to catch 71 balls for 500 yards and 3 touchdowns this season. You just got the tight end 20. Again.
Yeah, but wow. Ryan, did you hear about he was targeted the most in the red zone last year for the Chicago Bears at 2 targets? Did you hear that? I don't know if you've heard that.
I did misspeak though, because I said 71 balls, which is way too high. I think he is sub 80 targets, so I think it's going to be 51 balls. My apologies.
Apparently the Bears are only throwing it 300 times according to Ryan.
Facts.
No,
not even. I do want to say that they are supposedly going to be running this West Coast offense. The West Coast offense heavily includes, that's what they brought in an offensive coordinator that was under the Shanahan tree in order to, why? Because everyone was, it was one of the major reasons I was really hoping San Fran had gotten Fields, because having him in that kind of system does very well for that style of quarterback, and it really allows him to flourish and make the most of the opportunities and the players around him. That has been what the report. Now, they have been somewhat hush-hush on exactly what the style of play is going to be, but I do know.
If you just look back at what he did in Green Bay, they never targeted, in the last 2 seasons, they never targeted tight ends more than 100 times. The entire tight end group did not see 100 targets, and no single tight end crossed 60 targets.
Wait. What was Robert Tonyan's fantasy football finish 2 years ago?
Top 5.
Top 5.
Okay.
So is Cole Kmet.
But it was on touchdowns. It was on touchdowns, which is not the greatest stat to rely on. But again, does show that he. But yeah, that 12 touchdowns is a lot to go from 0 to 12.
Yeah. That's my issue. Is where
I hate this.
Fields isn't Aaron Rodgers. So,
No.
Oh my gosh.
I know it auto-drafted, but it just feels kismet, doesn't it? Right?
Are you
It
sure
feels good.
auto? Because it didn't change.
He could
to
be
auto.
making you. Yeah.
So I would like to just point out Robert Tonyan's stat line that season: 16 games, 59 targets, 52 receptions, 586 yards. So if Kmet gets 4 touchdowns from a bad offense, you take away, what is that, 28 points from that stat line. That bumps Tonyan down to, was it 148? So he's still a top 10 tight end if Fields can pull off. If Fields can pull off 4 touchdowns.
We're saying Cole Kmet's going from 0 to 8 touchdowns. You understand that, right? That's 2 zeros stacked on top of each other.
I'm saying 5 touchdowns in my projections, and that brought him to a top 10 tight end. Only 5.
That's in that season, in a 16-game season. If you look at it, what it would have done last year, 148 fantasy points would have put him, tight end 13. So now he's not even in the top 12.
So he improves on ADP.
He's a stream.
Okay.
Oh, did I auto pick? Damn it!
You didn't auto pick. Oh, you
Yeah,
did.
I did.
Auto-pick.
Oh, you did.
You got
Long time ago.
Jamison Crowder. You got your boy.
And Osborne.
It's because I have
auto pick.
I have a queue set up.
I was gonna say, yeah, you got.
Hey, that
I was
is
like,
a
you got
pro
2
tip.
of your boys. What do you mean you didn't auto pick?
Not
That
to
is a
mention
pro
you
tip.
auto.
So hey, I was gonna say pro tip.
14 picks ago.
I set up late picks
Yeah, that was like
that I
20
don't want to
minutes ago.
forget.
Brian is very good. That was a great gem that you talked about. Yeah, setting up your queue. Something I still haven't learned about.
That's okay.
So I
That's a
have
few.
Cole Kmet for 62 receptions, 739 yards, and 5 touchdowns. The receptions and the yards aren't out of question, and 5 touchdowns is pretty modest. And that brings
739
him
would
to
be such an improvement on what he did last year, though. His yards per target was terrible last year.
Yeah, but if you look at everyone else they're going to throw to, if Fields crosses 4,000 yards, it's easily going to be 600 to 800 yards from Kmet.
It's my
who
least
else-
favorite argument because who the fuck else did they throw to last year and he still didn't do it?
Darnell Moondog.
But
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at is the biggest
Nikhil
argument
Harry?
is-
You trying to? Is that who it is?
Shut up. Shut up.
Nikhil Harry?
Shut up.
I don't want to turn this into the anti Cole Kmet show that it always ends up when I'm
But
involved.
you like being anti-Cole Kmet show.
It's my personality at this point, 100%. But I just want to say
That's his shtick now.
the argument that is he's
should
the
take a
second
quarterback.
target on the team. Why wouldn't I want to
Just
take a
pick
dart
one.
throw on that?
Yeah, my
He
bad.
showed you why not to take a dart throw on that last
Forgot.
year. So unless you hate the old
Free
coaching
field.
staff so much and you are
Yes.
all in on this new coaching staff, it's just a fine no from me. So
That's a fair point. The nice
I think
thing
it's
is
funny
that,
that. Oh, sorry, Johnny. I was
No.
just going to say, I think it's funny that I'm very pro Kmet at his ADP, and I've got Club Fantasy to talk nonstop about a tight end who's not even going in the top 12.
and I've said that all along
Because
when I'm not
everyone-
on my soapbox is where he's at on your ADP, you're fine. Just know you're streaming the position. Don't hang on to him for too long. So
it's pretty good. I do like that take.
You- Also, just I didn't even think of this. They're in a division with 3 really good safeties. That's who's covering him. They're in he's in a shitty division to be a tight end.
we beat Death by Rona into submission. They gave up.
Yeah, you just,
Okay, can
it
I
shows the
ask,
auto
are
pick.
you guys hearing other things too, like weird noises and stuff?
It's the noises from Sleeper.
Yeah, no,
was like,
I
what is
muted.
happening?
Yeah, muted.
You sleep- yeah, you definitely have to mute it because it's
Well, and Sleeper recently changed the noise for when you're up. Like I noticed,
Uh-huh.
and that freaked me out a little bit today. So
oh, it does it.
Like, what is-
Wow.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that was incredible. Josh, the first couple of weeks when I was running my own mock draft show, I kept forgetting to turn those notifications off. Josh was not happy. I almost got fired.
Yeah, let's be real, Ryan.
All right, I want to know any late round gems that you have to draft this year.
From which team?
Gus
Any
Edwards.
team. Any
Gus
team.
Edwards.
I promise you, I was taking him already, Chris.
No. I that's the one I always leave like best ball drafts with. I think the value of taking him at the end of the drafts is so great.
You haven't really heard much about his recovery. It's all been about J.K. Dobbins.
Keontae. Nice.
They both got put on the PUP, which I found interesting.
Yeah.
But what I do find interesting about the whole situation was that Dobbins, they came flat out and said, we do not expect him to be ready for the start of the season, which is extremely interesting. That is not the way he is being projected as a fantasy asset right now.
No. Well, do you think he's up week 1? You think he's ready to go?
I mean,
he's going to be ready to go week 1.
Yeah, I mean, he said him and Jesus have been working real hard. So
I don't give a shit about
just
that.
saying.
He called out Ian Rappaport on Twitter and said, "You dumbass."
I
Don't
missed
this
this.
without talking
Okay,
to me.
so
you-
my apologies.
yeah.
I missed that part of it.
Oh,
missed
okay.
that,
Oh,
Ryan?
man. Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
Shit.
Okay. So to catch you up, yeah. So Rappaport said, "Hey, according to my source, he's going to be put on the PUP. I'd be shocked if he starts week 1." Then and then we had J.K. Dobbins retweet that and say, I don't know where you got your source from, but I'm definitely going to be ready to go week 1. Like, I'm been training. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
And then he just and then he doubled down the next day because he was getting like a bunch of retweets and all this stuff. And then he was like, he just retweeted that basically he would show a highlight tape of him training right now and how he looks to show how hard him and Jesus have been training. But he didn't want to let us analysts or faux doctors, I guess, online see any tape because he didn't want us like judging him or something. It was pretty funny.
On a way more fun story, did you guys see the picture Leonard Fournette put out today?
Yes.
I didn't. I've been no.
He photoshopped his head on a very large man's body and said, "I'll see you guys at training."
I love it, dude. It's so good.
This is like the 5th year we've overreacted to Leonard Fournette being overweight at training camp because it happens every year.
Is this his 5th year in the league?
Yeah, like every year we're like, oh my God, Leonard Fournette's overweight. Yeah, we know by week 2 he'll be fine. Like we go through this cycle every year. Death, taxes, Leonard Fournette eating the entire McDonald's menu for the offseason. We go through this every year.
But at some point, your metabolism just age catches up with you.
So we had wonderful Stefania Bell on our show this past week, and she said that exact statement was, at some point you can't dick around all offseason, and she was way more eloquent than me. She said you can't dick around all offseason and keep dropping the weight. But I do want to give a quick shout out to our writer Joel, who I think is maybe joining you guys. Yes. In his Leonard Fournette or in his Mike Evans article, he said that Rojo left town or Leonard Fournette ate him. He wasn't sure it hadn't been confirmed yet.
Oh, that is too good, too good. Big Travis saying Joe is so angry.
I'm not angry. Travis, I'm not angry. It
that's
just
not,
irritates
he's not
me.
angry. That's just his personality.
It just irritates me when there's like dumb fuckery being spoken. Like that's just, we know Leonard Fournette's overweight. It happens every year. We know. We don't need to overreact to this. This isn't the Mike Davis quads photo. We know.
Well,
where did Fournette go here?
Yeah,
I know you need to outro us because you have other guests, so I'll shut up.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask. Well, Faith seems to be like, I tried to give it to Joe last time, but kind of stumbled through it there. So I'm just gonna give Faith the outro,
guys.
See if Faith, you want to say once more where everybody can find you, get your stuff.
Don't fuck it up.
All the stuff that you've got going on. because there's a lot. You guys are doing a lot.
Joe Solo.
Somebody mute Joe's mic, please.
Hold on,
Yeah.
no, real quick. Faith, you
Let's just
can't
boot
do
him from
worse
the
than
chat.
Ryan and Josh have done on our actual shows. So you're already. I had to say.
Wow.
My
Wow.
intros have gotten better. My outros absolutely.
You
suck.
should go
I
back
don't
to
deny it.
where Josh.
Hey, the
was
stars of the
super
show
drunk.
never talk for themselves. They always let other people intro them. I got you.
Oh.
Ryan.
Tough.
Yeah.
All right.
Johnny,
Sure.
you're not helping his already massively large ego here. For Club Fantasy at Club Fantasy FFL on all of the socials, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, all of the fun stuff. For Women of Fantasy Football at women_of_FF. I am Faith. You saw Joe, Ryan, and Chris. You can check out all of the articles for this year's A Look Inside, including the only article I ever write a year.
I love it.
Which was about Jacoby Myers, so I had to draft him.
Kobe.
It was only fitting. Check out No Pun Intended every Wednesday night until you get to August 10th through the 31st, in which case it will be Women of Fantasy Football featuring me and Kelly Singh at Kelly in Phoenix, where we will be interviewing some amazing women in both fantasy football in sports. Some you may know, and some we're hoping to introduce you to, and that's the whole point of Women in Fantasy Football.
You guys are basically, whenever you have anybody on the show, they just blow
Thanks,
up.
Joe.
You guys have. I like Chris. Being like,
Yeah, I know.
Look at my
Cooper
jersey.
Just right, dude, perfect brand.
I appreciate you
glad
guys
one of
being
us
on
did
here.
that.
Just wanted to speak.
Yes.
I know Johnny's
That's
probably giving you
fair.
big thanks, but we love you guys. And I was telling Josh in his hour, it's kind of like our brother/sister channel, whatever you want to call it. You guys have just been an amazing partner the whole way through. And last year we partnered up for the whole draft. And I'm actually seeing Joe be nice and positive with this heart thing. Man,
Do you want me to go back to being an asshole?
No,
I can
no,
do
no,
that
please
immediately.
shut up.
Just tell you right now.
I say you better kick him out because he's going to screw this up.
I just want to say I wasn't sad eating.
Oh, look at Joe.
But I was sad to have missed this hour because I love you guys so much. You guys do great work. And Chris, I mean, it was a pleasure to get you back on here. Everybody back on here. Fourth year in a row. I think everybody's been on.
4 years.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Yeah, Faith's third, but everybody else did 4. We tried to get Josh off, but he snuck in. So
It was a valiant effort.
yeah.
I just want to say, Travi, you do have the Infinity Gauntlet behind you, so
I do. Yeah.
you could turn back time if you wanted to.
Ooh, that's a great.
Joe, what is on your hand?
Oh, so today we had
Thank
an
you
event.
for having the same kind of brain.
Joe went to a
Naughty.
bar and they had to show that he wasn't allowed to drink.
It was our mascot Clark the Lark's 6th birthday.
You let a girl
today.
draw into
Oh.
a pool again today, Joe?
No, I was at the tattoo station at our mascot's birthday party.
Happy
and
birthday,
I was
Clark.
in charge of putting tattoos on children.
Wow,
What? Somebody explain this one to me.
Oh, that was
You were
me.
in charge of putting
Travi
tattoos
Joe
on children?
said he was
Oh yeah,
glad.
Ryan
Oh,
said that.
Travi, comma,
Yeah.
Joe
Yeah.
said
Oh,
he
and it
was
was actually
glad it
Ryan.
was Johnny.
Yeah,
It was Ryan.
It was
That's- I
Ryan.
glad.
But Joe
You guys
too.
spent the
Joe
hour
was
with
thinking
Johnny.
it. Joe was
Johnny
thinking
always has his hair pulled back, and I have not had a chance to speak with him personally to tell him how lovely he looks with it.
His
Oh, yeah,
luscious flowing locks.
today.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blush, dude. I'm gonna blush.
Well, we're gonna go from a group of you Club FFL awesome people to Joel Worth, who's also
Yeah.
part of the team. We're excited to intro him. But again, everybody go follow Club Fantasy FFL all over on Twitter, all these personal ones as well. And our guy Chris just continuing to rep that Rams champions. And I don't blame him.
Go
Like,
Rams.
I'm gonna-
Do you, boo? Keep going.
Do you?
Have fun with Joel, guys. He's amazing.
Appreciate
Appreciate you
awesome.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you. All right,
All right. Bringing
Joel.
into the marathon. What's going on, Joel? How are you, brother?
What's happening, guys? How you guys doing?
Oh, we're cruising along. We're doing,
Right on.
that break, that food break did me wonder.
Dude, isn't it? It really is nice, dude.
Yeah,
it really
actually
is.
eating is good for you, apparently.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this. Joel, why don't you talk a little bit about what you're doing over for Club FFL and where people can find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at @TheJoelWorth, which is in my signature there. Doing a few player profiles for Club Fantasy right now in the off season. I just had one for Mike Evans go up on today, actually. I've done a couple for DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert, and I've got one for Aaron Jones and one for Travis Kelce coming up within the next week. And then once the season starts, I'll be doing the blurred lines NFL betting column.
So that betting column, is that for just over-unders? Do you do the player props? Can you explain that one a little bit?
Yeah, basically what we do is we take the, kind of to compare the Vegas lines to what the analytic lines, and just kind of, explain, go through the differences and see, where can you kind of leverage some of those differences into making some money. I can't legally bet here in Ohio just yet, but it's coming. It's coming.
He goes across state lines, maybe. No,
Pennsylvania's not that far away.
We won't say nothing. We didn't hear anything.
No, all right, Joel. So this is a 12-team half PPR super flex. We know you were a late ad here, and I think where did you end up at the 4th spot? You want to talk a little bit about strategy in that position?
I just jumped on and grabbed the 3 super flex. I'm happy with one of the big 3 quarterbacks, so I'll take the easy spot and grab whichever one falls to me. I'm all good.
All right.
Awesome. Well, Austin, Johnny, Joel, we ready to start this thing?
Absolutely. Let's get it going.
Fire it up.
Look, Death by Rona's back after
his nap.
Yeah. Well,
ate some pork chops and applesauce, and now
he's
back in the
game. He had a pretty bad draft last round. They were roasting him, so they thought that maybe that was why that he left. Because
wait, he did rage quit the draft?
Yeah, I think he did.
Oh wow!
I think that was how bad his team was. You'll have to watch. You'll have to go back and watch the replay in order to see it. But I don't encourage going back to see his replay of his team.
Joel, will you be? I mean, you're a 0 RB guy, if I remember right from our mock draft a couple weeks ago. Will you be kind of doing that tonight?
Yeah, and definitely super flex. I'm all about. I'm getting quarterbacks early, and I usually like to get a big tight end early too. So I'm going to very likely be 0 RB.
I'm really excited.
How was your break? Oh yeah,
it was good. I talked to Chelsea for a little bit.
Yeah,
that was nice. That was nice. She's in DC. That was cool. I went and I picked up a couple of energy drinks and some Milano cookies that I got. I did get some energy. I'm going to chill on the caffeine until after midnight. Well, I'm probably not going to go that long, but at least for a couple more hours after this one to try to use
4 seconds.
Oh shit.
Sorry, Austin. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you should have cut me off sooner.
Oh, what? No. Why would
yeah, dude. Austin Eckler. You love him. Dude, you love him. Hey, he was number 1 on your queue, dude.
The one thing I'll say about the Superflex drafts here for Sleeper is that their rankings get a little bit weird. Like,
let's get weird.
Just like us as we get a little bit further along this mock draft marathon. And
a little bit funky.
It took me all of 5 minutes to auto draft already and after my break. Jeez.
In the first round,
I know. Why did it not take CMC, dude? Oh, fine, whatever.
You love Eckler, dude. You're tied to him now, and this make believe.
I can understand taking a running back, but not Eckler when CMC's there. All right. Anyways,
you got to deal with it.
Yeah, I don't have a choice.
Pivot.
Actually, I do have a choice because I made the draft, so I could actually change the player.
Oh, wow.
That would be bad taste.
Just right click, swap player.
Yeah, exactly.
Take Reed Tyler's guy.
I haven't had an opportunity to draft him in a second. So I'm going to do it. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit different here.
Oh, Najee, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
dude, I'm looking at this. Okay, this prime position where we've heard every analyst come on and say you need to get the quarterbacks here, and I'm just like Russell Wilson, Tom, Matt Stafford, Trey Lance. Fine, they've all got their stuff, but I just feel too ugly doing it, and I want to have some fun. So I'm gonna what's more fun, getting 2 tier 3, tier 2 quarterbacks, or going off and getting Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase?
What is fun?
Give it to
me. Winning is fun.
What is it? Never mind. I'm going to stop. I had such a slam that I was going to just drop, and I'm not. Oh, which I guess is kind of a slam in its own, but that's okay.
The thing about those second-tier quarterbacks is they all look the same, right? It's Stafford, Russell Wilson. You take one here, you take one later. It's the same guy.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit about this. If you're going to fade, Joe, and you're going to pick up positional players, not quarterbacks, in a super flex, who are the 2 quarterbacks that should be available, after round 6 or 7 that you'd have your eye on. Some of the names we talked about a little bit were Matt Ryan. We think he's going to be coming up a little bit. Mac Jones is there. Daniel Jones, perhaps. These are some of the names that have been mentioned. Do you have any guys you'd be looking at later on at the quarterback position?
Well, depending on how far he falls, like Derek Carr would be one I would be jumping all over. He may not get past me here, but we'll see. I like Baker in Carolina. I think he's going to be set free, man. He's healthy now. He was hurt all last year, and now he's in an offense that's not going to constrain him. It's not going to be so run heavy. So I think he's got a good chance to bounce back. He's got great receivers. He's got a good running back out of the backfield. I think he's got a chance to be, a serviceable, super flex quarterback.
Yeah, I think so too. I like that. I like that take there.
I love that.
Pizza Bley asks, no love for Dak there. I think this is an interesting name that we haven't really talked about. Like Dak was up in butting into that elite tier of quarterbacks, and we saw him then just blow his leg apart, which was horrible. Tony Romo called it a cramp. Wasn't a cramp. Turned his leg like around.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And then we've seen the Dallas defense get better, which has eliminated some of the pace of play, some of the need to keep up. It means that Dak Prescott's probably not going to need to aim for 5,000 yards. He also went from having an incredible staple of wide receivers to it's a little less shiny and a really elite offensive line that's now kind of middle of the pack. So, like, where are we at on Dak Prescott? Pizza Belly wants to know. No love for Dak? I don't know. How do you guys feel about Dak?
I just want to see him run more. If he's a year removed from the ankle injury, then we could be good. And McCarthy said as much. And with the lack of targets, vacated targets, maybe he will have to. And the line's a lot worse than it was last year. So that is where I'm intrigued with Dak, because if he can run more, then he will be worth kind of where he's going with those other guys, in my opinion. Just because the lack of weapons that have left them, they've always been like pass heavy in the last, like in the Kellen Moore era. But I just be a little bit worried that he's going to get there with the rushing floor.
Yeah. Yeah. When he was an elite player, the year before he had the injury, he was like the second highest rated quarterback in fantasy. Yeah. He was running a lot. He scored a lot of touchdowns. He ran a lot. If that doesn't come back, then he's just, then he's in that middle tier with Wilson and Stafford. And, he's just kind of a solid guy.
I mean, Mike McCarthy said that he wanted Dak to run a little bit more. I thought it was just, because he doesn't want him to run out the clock next time and slide a little earlier to give him a chance to win the game. But yeah. Hopefully it's for fantasy value, but I just think that it is kind of funny how we are just like a couple of years removed where Dak was, because of what he was showing in that, first few games of their potential, where it was just like all comeback games. Dawson's point, with the better defense, will he still have to throw that much? But yeah, Mike McCarthy always likes to throw. It's his thing. It's his MO.
Dak's kind of a funny one because I'm looking at his numbers from years past, and to start out his career, he was kind of rushing the ball a little bit more, 57 attempts, 75 attempts, year 3, 6 touchdowns in each one of those years on the ground. His best year, when he was just behind 5,000 yards and 30 passing touchdowns, surprisingly a little bit less action on the ground there, 277 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. So he's definitely getting you some production there, but Dak Prescott could be the number 1 overall quarterback in fantasy if he was in a situation where he had to be that way. And I don't know if he's going to have to run. I don't know if he's going to have to throw. And I don't know if he will do either of those things. So yeah, that's me like finally rounding out the point on Dak Prescott. Okay.
I think he could be forced to run a little bit more again, like with the line and the lack of weapons, but we'll see, because last year, the reason things got weird for the offense last year is they were in so many game scripts with a very opportunistic defense that they could airmail kind of the second half of the game where you didn't get the production out of the offense you wanted. I remember so many games being frustrated with weapons on their team because of that. Is that going to happen again? Because usually what we see out of defenses that have a lot of turnovers, the next year they kind of regress to the mean. So are they good enough to be a sound enough defense, maybe in that division? I think Philly got better. It's fun to dunk on Washington, but they kind of got better. Wentz is at least an upgrade from the quarterbacks they were rocking with last year, which is saying a lot, as Joel laughs there. But, I just think that's kind of where I'm at with it. What is Dallas going to be able to put on the field? I love CeeDee Lamb. He's going to be in so much he's going to get so many targets this year. But is he an alpha? Like, is he an alpha? We haven't seen it yet. So that's another big question on Dallas too.
Yeah, I took him here. I think he's almost too big to fail, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He's got the talent. He's going to get the target share. It would really take almost an injury or a complete collapse of that offense for him not to be really good.
Yeah. I wanted to talk we're doing another Superflex on here, and we got a little action in the chat going on from Scott. So few Superflex in money leagues. Travis saying Superflex is the new Scott. I asked this question to Dave coming in before, and I thought he had a pretty astute point on it. He's like, we love Superflexes. I know we love mock draft and Superflexes. We have a lot of fun with it. And Dave was like, yeah, this is for the people who are drafting year round, who end up getting bored with the overall situation. But if you end up talking to like a casual fantasy player and you're like, oh, we're going to do a Superflex PPR, they're like, that's a lot of stuff, man. Like, no, that's not really what I'm in it for. But eventually, the people who are the most invested end up creating the default for everybody else. But we might still be ahead of that. Like, so Scott's point, maybe he does have something where most leagues actually, unless you're like in a professionals league, still probably just one quarterback.
I mean, Scott plays in a shot ton, dude, of $100 leagues, and Superflex is way down the list.
Next time, Scott, I'll be sure that we schedule a consulting call with you and make sure you're on board with all the things we schedule, Scott. We love you, so we're sorry we didn't advise you on everything you want as I auto draft again. Oh, I'm not mad at that one, I guess.
That's okay.
You're working through some stuff over here. No. It's not a bad Superflex there. Mark Andrews.
I suppose. Like I said, I like it better than the Eckler pick. I'll be honest with you. I do. But
why do you hate Eckler, dude?
I don't hate Eckler. I just don't like Eckler with CMC on the board. If I'm gonna have to take a running back, like I would rather have taken CMC over Eckler there. So that's all.
Fair point.
Scott, I hear you on like the normies coming in. I'm telling you though, it feels a lot like a PPR situation where we were kind of like, no, I don't know about PPR. I don't know about PPR. I don't know about, and then all of a sudden everything's PPR. And I feel like because the quarterback is deep in fantasy football and because there's so much points. I mean, Joel's on here talking about Baker Mayfield, and that's the idea is that in fantasy we can get quarterbacks that produce. Late, between that 15 to 20 range.
I think you're totally right. It's just where in the bell curve are people at? And like the people at the front, like the people who are in the industry, they're going to end up driving the default because they're the ones pioneering into the new and what's fun. It just takes a couple of years for that to catch on. And it probably hasn't. We might be a little bit ahead of where we think like casual fans are at on Superflex and PPRs and things like that. PPR is definitely seems like the new standard, but maybe Superflex it's on its way. Maybe
so are the Superflex people going to move on to 2 quarterback by the time everyone else moves into Superflex?
Dude, Joel, I posted a question on Reddit asking, what are trends that you think will be popular in a few years but aren't currently? And Triflex was mentioned by a handful of people, and it got more upvotes than 10. It was like people are talking about Triflex.
I do like the Triflex kind of idea. I think that's really creative. As far as like, then you are really opening the door with different possibilities of what you could do, what you can draft, how you can draft, where I think you really shake up, ADP that way.
I think it's probably going to be, go ahead.
I like the quad flex, then you really, really shake up everything. I'm just kidding.
I know you're fucking with this, but real talk, like as the NFL evolves and we get positionless football, we've got our Deebo Samuels, Curtis Samuel before that, we've got Kyle Pitts, who's technically a tight end, but is actually a wide receiver. It is like positionless football that starts emerging, and that trend will probably keep going. We see it happen in more sports than just football. Like, Pat Riley's prediction from the early 2000s is right. The future of the NBA is a bunch of 6'10" dudes running up and down the court, chucking up threes. That's like basically where we're at right now. They're trying to do that build as much as they can. And so it could make sense actually to open it up and have just more flexes and, get in more tight ends or get in more wide receiver running back converts. We got our Deebo Samuels and our Cordero Pattersons. And what is he? I don't know. You've got 4 flexes anyways.
It's a fantasy glitch.
And we'll probably have more of those, right?
Yeah, especially.
I would imagine that if you can do it, it'll depend on the talent as it goes forward. And then obviously, like you said, with the Superflex, people got to catch up, right? So the college game has to catch up. You got to get players that are good enough to play Deebo Samuel type roles, CPAT type roles. And if we can get enough of that, sure. But I think it'll always dictate. Who was it that said the Bill Parcells quote? We're only as good as the college players that come forward, right? So we can only do as much as they'll give us. So I think that's kind of what ends up happening. Joel, we got a question here from Scooby Taylor. In a one keeper league, I can keep either Cup and replace my 4th rounder or Swift as my 11th rounder. Which one should I do?
Man, I'm always about, that's pretty insane value on Swift, but
Yeah.
I want to keep my elite players, and I know Cup's going to be an elite player. So even at a 4th round, that's still really, really good values. I would take Cup there.
I think I tend to agree with you, but man, that value is great on 11th round.
But then the thing you got to think about is, if you're keeping a guy, that 4th rounder is really a 5th rounder. So, that's still really good value.
Yeah, that's.
Do you see that one, Travi, here on Calvin's?
Yeah, I was going to flash it up. I'm a 32 team, all flex, DYNLG. That's defense, not for everybody. When we add some flex IDP last year, then we add some flex.
Wow,
that's.
Can you just even run those settings on Sleeper? Or you
got to build code just to run your league.
It's like a WordPress league, like a built this site for it.
It's probably a Fantrax league.
Yeah, probably.
There we go. Donnie coming in saying 0 kicker leagues is where it's at. We did get a lot of support. I like kickers, man. I do. I like streaming them. I have fun with that, but there is definitely a wave of kicker disdain.
Joel, where do you stand on the kicker?
I'm fine with kickers. If you want to get rid of them, fine. I don't mind kickers. I think it's all right. It's part of the game. Let them count.
Let them count.
They're people too.
Let them play.
Kickers are people too.
Yeah,
wow.
love it.
Well, we don't put any kickers or defense into our mock drafts because
they're too good.
We don't like to.
We just got to keep them out. They're too good. Joel, when the real question is, when will you take a running back? How far are you going to push this?
I'm looking at it, and the running backs are starting to look better than the available receivers, so I may just have to jump on one. Because the receivers are getting way. There's guys I'm okay with, but yeah, I'm probably going to. I think the talent at running back is better than what's available at receiver.
Yeah, there has really been some talented running backs further down in the mock drafts we've been doing.
I found Amari Cooper. I'm good with him.
There you go. I like Amari Cooper a lot as well. But Antonio Gibson, J.K. Dobbins, Josh Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell. If these are dead zone running backs, I'll walk through the cemetery. This isn't so bad, right?
It's a guy I'll take in the 7th, 8th round. I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I do like that value.
Holding out on players. Speaking of, I have faded quarterback. I was really hoping Matt Ryan would be someone I could load up. He wasn't. He was taken by Johnny the pick before, and I feel nervous.
You feel about as stable as
I fucking hate. I hate Jameis Winston. I hate Jameis Winston on a personal level, and I still ended up taking him. And that's how uncomfortable I feel right now with the available quarterbacks in the Superflex.
As uncomfortable as the wobbly barbell that he works out, right?
The rest of your team is pretty insane, though.
Yeah, it is.
You really
gotta take that
nice value, yeah.
Yeah, you see how it all stakes out, and I guess Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, Davis Mills, these guys are all going to have good games.
Yeah, like Goff.
Is Goff just taking? No, Goff was just taking.
You could take my boy or your boy in this mock draft, Mac Jones.
I could. When you start to end up, it is what it is, right? And he'll be a starting quarterback. He might throw the ball 3 times in a game.
Actually,
you take good.
Hope it's not windy.
Yeah, me too. Right. I like Daniel Jones. I like Carson Wentz. I like Davis Mills. I mentioned those. Zach Wilson is still not exciting despite everything else going on.
Winston did play great last year. I'll give him that. He improved as a passer. He looked good. It was a very limited passing offense. So you have to take what they did, condense down, and kind of take that for it. But I'm in on all the weapons they put around Winston, especially
let him cook, dude.
Yeah, Michael Thomas. Sorry. If you get Michael Thomas back, I think. God damn it.
Yeah, dude, take him. Love it.
I just gotta I thought the break was good for me. I think I'm getting like it's a sluggish thing here because I cannot stop talking when I'm picking, and I'm just in the groove. I think I'm just in the mode.
Oh,
but
love it.
I do like the Saints offense. It projects to be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a more pass happy, because some of the reason why they were conservative is because I think Sean Payton was like, I don't want to unleash Jameis Winston. I've seen him throw so many interceptions. I've seen him be so turnover worthy. And I'm not saying that it's going to be a better offense without Sean Payton, but could actually be more aggressive because he's not there to kind of hide Jameis Winston.
Yeah. I got to make my picks.
I think Olave is a really good fit with him too. I mean, I didn't love him as a prospect, but that's like the perfect situation for him because he matches really well with Jameis.
Well, that's what I loved about the sleeper little hype piece that we got about a month and a half ago. And it was like, Olave did exactly what they brought him in to do. Went deep down the left field, jumped between two defenders, and hauled down the pass. And it's like, I sent a message to Travis. I was like, yep, sounds like they brought, Winston brought him in exactly what to do. Throw between two defenders and think you can put the ball down there.
Yeah, Winston's really improved with his decision making, even in practice, just chucking it up.
He's only throwing in double teams instead of triple teams.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
Hey, people can get better, Joel. People can get better.
It's progress.
Yeah.
It's only taken 7 years to get to that point.
Yeah, and maybe by like round 8, I'll stop auto drafting, but probably not. So
probably not, baby.
Yeah. Oh, I just got to stare at Johnny taking AJ Dillon at 7-11 and me sitting with Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 7-5. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate that, dude. I appreciate you letting that gem fall to me.
Dude, Johnny, I almost took Rashad Bateman. I ended up going Juju. I haven't got my hands on any Juju shares this mock draft marathon, so I wanted to do it, but I think Rashad Bateman is a nice pickup, man. Like Marquise Brown got more love in Baltimore than folks realize, and he would have had a whole lot more love if he would have just held onto the damn ball, a couple of times. It wasn't Lamar's fault in a lot of these situations. It was just straight up butterfingers by Marquise Brown. Where's your pulse here on Rashad Bateman, year 2?
Who did you just ask that to?
For you, Johnny.
The guy who dropped
him. Sorry. I thought you were asking Joel. My bad. I was like, no, I'm all for the Bateman. I think that where he's going, for me, I kind of view it a little different. If I'm going to gamble, the place I want to gamble is in that 7th and 8th round because those guys have true potential to break out. You'll know relatively soon, earlier rather than later, if they're going to be breakout guys. And so for me, and like that, there's a good pocket of value there. So for me, if I'm going to swing with a guy and at a wide receiver, like you said, I do think there are targets up for grabs. He was a very talented wide receiver coming out of college, and we hyped him up. And so I just think his value's right. He's going to see, or he at least should see, a good amount of targets. I think that he is worth the upswing, which I was glad I did. I'm not going to lie. I left Juju there because I had a feeling I was like, oh, if I were to take Juju here, then there's no way he would let Bateman fall to me in this next round. And I was like, I want to get Bateman on a couple mocks. And so I left Juju knowing that Austin would take him because he knows I like him. So it worked.
You made Austin Bell, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Inception.
Yeah, I incepted his draft right there.
Well, I just plugged my audio back in. I couldn't hear. I don't even know what Johnny was talking about, but he was probably spewing some bullshit about perceived inception or trying to pull some weird strings he thinks he was doing. How he controlled the draft board from his 3rd pick. Yeah, I just couldn't hear him go off on that vibe. So
hold on, let me ask you: would you have, if I would have taken Juju at where I took AJ Dillon, would you not have grabbed Bateman with one of those 2 picks?
I don't know. I like Gabe Davis. I like Bateman. I like Juju. I've got these kind of guys kind of here. And honestly, I've gotten Rashad Bateman. I've drafted him already. I haven't drafted any Juju Smith-Schuster. I just want to try it on, see how it feels. I've taken MBS. I've taken Mecole Hardman. Now this is my first share of Juju. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't feel awesome. I don't love it. Well, I'll say this. Sometimes when you flip a coin, you're like, I can't decide between A or B. So you're like, I'm going to flip a coin. And then when the coin is in the air, you know who you actually like. It takes until that moment. You're like, please land on B. Please land on B. You're like that. Like it just helps reveal of who you actually like. So I think mock drafts do a really good job of that. Like, oh, let me just take them. And then you take them and then you get a sample of how you'd actually feel with them. And you're like, I don't feel like I walked away with anything uplifting. I think I kind of like walked away with a disappointment.
Wow. And you do have Jefferson, Chase, and Samuel, so Juju's your flex, which is where he belongs. So that's
Yeah, him and Hunt. Yeah,
I'm putting you in the flex where you belong.
Thank you, Joel.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you, Joel.
You got to find a quarterback, but the rest of your team is stacked.
Well, and actually speaking of that, I was looking at grabbing a quarterback, but I looked at every other person drafting, and every other person in this league, other than Brocal in the 2 spot, already has 2 quarterbacks. And there's a couple of guys that are in that whatever category for me, like the Daniel Jones, the Davis Mills, the Mac Jones, Carson Wentz. You can just give me one of them and I don't care. So I was like, fine. Like no one else is going to take a quarterback throughout the stretch. And we took 24 picks and nobody else took a quarterback. So
we're only going into the 10th round. We got a lot of picks left.
Yeah.
But I do like that logic though. Damn it. I was hoping you would let Melvin fall.
Well, see, I knew that if I took Juju in the round before, then you'd be forced with this decision here in the 9th round. And I knew that you'd be hoping that I was going to pass on Melvin Gordon. And I knew that would make you disappointed. So I did exactly what I did, Johnny.
Good.
That's for you.
You're still on the clock.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, see? Exactly. Which is why I knew you were going to forget. And so I did that on purpose so you wouldn't take the real value that I needed.
You better not the real value. He was even going to wait past Goff, but he autoed on Goff. So Austin knew that he was going to be able to wait even longer on QB.
Yeah. All right, I knew that Johnny was going to take Alexander Madison as handcuff for his 2nd round pick. Yep. And so that's going to be
a great offense.
This bit is going into the ground. I do like what you've done here, Joel, so far. You waited till the 7th, but I really like all those running backs, especially the 0 RB build. I think that people are sleeping on Penny and Singletary, both starting with that lead back role at least. And they were awesome down the stretch. Like at the last month of the season, they were 2 of the best running backs in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you do, right? 0 RB thing is fill up your other spots and then take the guys that everyone else is kind of nervous about. And then I'm going to ride that horse. They've got the job to start the year. So they get to prove themselves and I'll take that. I mean, Kenneth Walker's got to come in. He's got to outplay Penny. I mean, James Cook has got to outplay Singletary. Otherwise they're not going to have a job. They've got to show they can pass block. They've got to do all this stuff. They've got to beat the incumbent, and that's not easy.
You bring it up, Cook and Singletary, and stepmom Lauren and I got into a pretty spirited debate at the top of the hour between these two. And then not Dave Kluge came on, but Dwayne McFarland, I think, actually talking about it was Matt Harmon talking about cornerstone pieces. No, that was Dwayne McFarland.
That was Dwayne.
Dwayne was talking about cornerstone.
Blurring together.
Yeah, and the ways that like a guy ends up being, all the elements you need to be a cornerstone piece. And Travis Etienne, has the ability to just blow the league apart. And this is the first time I've ever spoken this positively about Travis Etienne, because when Dwayne McFarland ran through the list of running backs that at one point in time were said to be too small, not the right build, not going to be the guy carrying the rock 15 to 20 times, not going to be the guy grabbing the ball and running in between the tackles. And then all of a sudden you get a Chris Johnson, you get a Jamal Charles, you get a LaShawn McCoy, you get all these guys who were not viewed as being every down type backs. And then they just blow the fantasy league apart. And Travis Etienne kind of has that build on him. Like we're saying right now, like he's not going to be that between the tackles guy. Like, maybe not. Maybe when James Robinson comes back, but that might not be for 2 years. Like realistically speaking, like Travis Etienne could come in and just like destroy it. And James Cook, we're not even talking, but this whole point was to bring it back to Buffalo backfield. James Cook, we're still not talking about him really as that level of pedigree, but we weren't talking about Alvin Kamara at that level either. And then he did what he did. And Cook actually like might have a little bit of that to me now. I'm kind of coming around to that thinking.
Yeah, like with ETN, it's like what's his competition? I mean, Robinson's not coming back anytime soon. He's torn his Achilles. That's a 2-year injury. It's Snoop Connor, really? That's your competition for touches?
He's going to be a spell, right? Like he's going to be in there to help manage the workload. Probably, I think Snoop Connor actually is going to be spoken about more than he is currently as we get closer to redraft legally firing up. But your point exactly right. Like Travis Etienne is supposed to be an elite talent at this level, coming out of Clemson. You know, even if he was drafted early because Urban Meyer was feeling whatever he was feeling, like he was still a top level type running back.
He wasn't going to fall much past the early second round. He was going to go somewhere in there. So yeah, he's an elite prospect.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's a 25, carry a game guy, but he's probably a 25 touch guy.
Yeah. And that you'd love to have the majority of those coming from the passing game, right?
Exactly. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Travis, where are you at on the James Cook side?
So I think James Cook's an interesting dart. The problem is he got a little steamed up too much for my liking, ADP wise. And I'm in on Singletary starting as, the year at the back. So I think that's kind of my priors are kind of baked in there too with Cook because I haven't taken a ton of him. But I have no doubt that Cook could have a little bit of like Kamara-esque pass catching, but dynamic as a runner in him. And he came in looking really jacked to like the rookie meetup. So, I mean, some of that stuff doesn't really matter. But, like if you train like Alvin Kamara, he just basically trains on his balance, then you can have tackles shed off of you. So I think there's a path for him to be good. I think the problem with it is they went out after McKissick. If they'd have gone out after a pass catching, maybe there wasn't a lot on the market. If they would have gone out for an all-around back, I'd probably be more in on Cook. But because they already told us, they showed their hand. They're like, we're going to try and get McKissick. McKissick went back to Washington. I feel like Cook is mostly going to play that role in his first year. But to Dwayne's point, Kamara had 30% of the rushing share and still finished in his rookie year and still finished as like a top 10, top 5 back. Right. So, I mean, there is room. I don't, it's hard to just swing for the fences on a guy who's supposed to be the next Kamara, that's the case you're trying to make. I can see it. I just wish his ADP was like Kamara's because Kamara was basically undrafted his rookie year,
Right. And then we get more and more guys that end up like the Austin Ecklers, the Alvin Kamaras. CMC actually doesn't count for that. But these guys that, a few years ago, people would say, I don't want to spend a first or second round pick on a running back that just doesn't get that much volume. And like I was in that camp, I was beating the hell out of that drum. And then it's like Alvin Kamara is a top 5 running back again and again and again. Austin Eckler, no, man, that guy's too small. He's not going to make it. He's not going to be an elite running back. He's the number 2 overall running back in every format.
Travis took him 5th overall in a Superflex.
And he was so happy about it. Exactly. But like, who is the running back in Detroit, the perennial 3rd down running back in Detroit?
Joyke Bell.
Javed Best.
Javed Best, dude. Rest in peace, dude.
Wasn't Joyke Bell?
No. A little bit.
Don't you ever say? Do not. If you're thinking Reggie Bush.
No,
good.
The third down running back. He was like the scat back after Danny Woodhead. He was like the scat. Like there was Darren Sproles and there was Danny Woodhead. And I feel like
you're talking about the Chargers.
No, I'm not. I'm moving away from the Lions. There's a third example that was in there that I just can't remember who that freaking dude's name was. But if we look at we used to call them scat backs, and the Danny Woodheads and the Darren Sproles, I say were the precursors to the Alvin Kamaras and the Austin Ecklers, and it had this tipping point. It feels like in the NFL where those guys went from being valuable pieces for their NFL team, good on third down, good in the 2-minute offense, but they really weren't getting enough work to be actual players for your fantasy squad. And then something tipped and they got just like a little bit more love. They got a little bit better. And now all of a sudden, those guys are the ones you'd want ahead of those early down backs, ahead of those goal line backs. You want the guys who are catching all the passes.
I don't think it was Carry On. The chat's trying to help
out.
God, what was his name, dude? I know I can see it in my mind's eye, but it's not very clear right now. Drafting for all these hours.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but what does that have to? How does that impact Marlon Mack, dude?
Exactly.
That's what we're trying to figure out, Joel.
Take a look at the diversification of committees and the volume that Marlon Mack is going to get now from the emergence of this new play style.
Dude, I will say, Lovie Smith, man, dude loves to use one back.
Yeah, it'll be Dameon Pierce. That's a beautiful thing. That's why I drafted him.
Could be, or it could be the Mac attack. What if he gets that second resurgence like Donta Foreman?
Donnie, you're so
Theo Riddick, Donnie.
That's
the man behind the glass. That's it, baby. Way to go.
It is Theo Riddick.
Yep.
Man behind the glass with that gem. That's why we love him. Shout out to Donnie, who's holding down the Twitter.
It was Theo Riddick. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah.
Kind of like James White too. James White would fit kind of in that role. Like these guys that were always in, they were staples for their team, but they just weren't very good for fantasy. But it's tipped now. It's different.
Yeah. Well, we've been tipped several times by Whisper Nation. We've given out several woos.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. If you want to go ahead and donate as well, you see the ticker below. We are trying to raise money for a great cause that the Hayden Hurst Family Foundation puts out there for mental health solutions. So use the Venmo at the Fantasy Whispers, or use the super chat via YouTube, and a portion of those proceeds go directly to the Hayden Hurst Foundation. So Hayden Hurst Family Foundation. So go check it out.
It's a great cause.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and shout out to another one of our listeners, Jacob Bley. Draft don't lie usually. He must be, I think he's busy tonight, but he sent us that video, man, where Hayden Hurst had like broke down, like his career and all that, man. It was touching for sure. Really, really hit a nerve for sure.
Absolutely. We love it.
And love to support it. Love to be about this. Travi, how I know you've had a few auto drafts come your way, but how are you feeling about your build?
I would have liked to have not auto draft some of the team I did. So what I did is after I did auto draft, I just started drafting players I wouldn't normally take, because we were talking about getting stuck in the loop of players that you end up taking all the time through these drafts.
Vendor loop.
So like you are stuck in the vendor loop. I took DK Metcalf, Marquise Brown. I didn't mean to take CEH. Garrett Wilson is one. So that one's in the 10th that, people, because we love Elijah Moore, because Zach Wilson was so bad, I think Garrett Wilson's kind of getting pushed down for one of the guys that a lot of people thought was one of the better prospects in the draft. So, I mean, it's a lot to ask for Zach Wilson to maybe take a step forward after how bad he was last year. But if he does, I think Wilson could be something very special. And he would maybe be the main benefactor there.
He could. Now that secret's out, man, he's a total fuck machine, man.
Zach Wilson?
Yeah. You hear, dude?
Maybe that's what he needed. He needed to bang his mom's friend, apparently.
Yeah. And now that the skeleton's out, dude, he could ball out.
Dude, honestly speaking, though, I'm not even going to lie. That does give me a bump in consideration for Zach Wilson.
Well, this is actually important because previously you weren't about his makeup.
No, I wasn't. No, I'm not about his mental makeup at all, because I'm watching him stand up there with two of his teammates, and they just start throwing out some like gang signs, and he like crumbled. He got so uncomfortable, and I'm like, oh, is like your little worldview like being? Yeah, I know, right? Like, oh, is your worldview crumbling right now with the people around you, and you're breathing in culture and you're breathing in experiences that you're just not ready to handle? Like, you're not mature enough to take in, you haven't been prepared enough to handle all of the wildness that's about to come your way. And so when I hear that he's like hooking up with his mom's friend, it's like, oh, you can dance on the wild side. You're maybe a little bit more prepared than you put yourself out there to be, or maybe you were at one point in your life. So yeah, it actually does give me a little bit more confidence to see Zach Wilson. I see be a little bit more confident in a situation that I would think otherwise would make him uncomfortable.
What about you, Joel? Does that give you the bump there?
The confidence bump, Travis.
It's impressive, but I liked him anyway. He was all right down the stretch. I mean, he was
arm talent.
He was significantly better the last few games. I mean, he showed he can do it. So I mean, he owns that. That talent is there. It'll come out. It's the same thing with Trevor Lawrence. You need a year you need a year of experience against NFL defenses.
Well, he got more than a year of experience with that with his mom.
Yeah, dude,
a few years of experience there. But yeah,
dude, I like the things I'll teach you.
Yeah, I want to love Zach Wilson just because I saw his arm talent, the throws off platform, the rolling out and throwing on the run. Like he was just so special on film, but a lot of things went right at BYU, competition, the team was really good, all those things. And then he kind of crumbled in spots. So it's been an interesting dichotomy to kind of work through, but I like what you said there, Joel. Down the stretch is really what's important. Did he take his lumps and then learn? Right. And like maybe he did in the last few games. Will that be enough to, get past?
Speaking of preparing for the whole stretch and down the way, I like Rhett Taylor here. I like the double tap of Russell Gage and Jamison Williams to equal one true wide receiver over the course of the year. Like that's actually not bad, right? You get 6 good weeks out of Russell Gage to start the year. Yeah, Jamison Wilson coming back, starting to get his groove, getting his sea legs back together after that recovery. And you actually, you might have yourself like a wide receiver 15 throughout the whole year just through 2 different players.
The thing is, though, is that Gage could actually have season-long value because
he will. Because he's the best.
Well, AB had season-long value until he quit. But that's the thing is when Chris Godwin comes back, if he does, then he'll just take that AB role and he'll be good with that.
And the Bucs aren't going to be as good defensively as we've seen them in the past. They're going to have to play to win more than they'd like to.
All right, so
it's okay to stay active.
We've got some time here, so I actually want to start off because Scott basically says the same thing every draft. Yeah. There you go, drafted legitimately. That team is a championship team. So Joel, we're going to highlight Scott's team here, Death by Rona. Yeah. I'd like you to toast or roast his team here. Just kind of go through it and see if you like it or not. So I'll just kind of list off what he did here. Went Christian McCaffrey at 1-9, then Aaron Jones for his second running back in the 3rd, David Montgomery in the 6th, is that right? And then Khalil Herbert to handcuff him. Quarterbacks are Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Zach Ertz at tight end, and then at wide receiver, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Elijah Moore, Tony, Sky Moore, and Jacoby Myers.
Look, he even said here, last pick, even Charles Barkley guarantees my RBs.
Well, I'm probably the highest guy in the world on Khalil Herbert, so I applaud that pick. I would have taken him there instead of Foreman, so I'm definitely on that. Here's my take on McCaffrey, and I may be totally off about this, but I think they brought Foreman in to be the goal line back, and I think that's going to cost him touchdowns. And I think you take away those touchdowns, and he is a much less valuable player. He's not the overall player 1, and I think they're going to be really careful with him. Mm-hmm. He's just too important. And
they should be.
I don't think they wanted him to take that beating, and I'm really concerned about him scoring touchdowns. I think that's going to be an issue. So I'm kind of down on him. I'm lower on him than the market for sure. Trav, I don't think you got that bad a deal getting Eckler over McCaffrey. I'm not down on that.
Yeah.
I kind of figured as much because I know in the last draft you drafted Foreman, and I think you did it again here.
Again today, yeah.
And I think that's what you said, right? You said if you're worried about McCaffrey, you got to take Foreman. You're worried about McCaffrey. I feel it. The problem is that they should do that. The problem is that what's his name? Their head coach.
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule is like fighting for his job, and the best way to keep winning is to give CMC all the touches, and they have only done that every time he's come back from injury. So I understand, like thinking they should do it. We should assume rational coaching. I'm not so sure the coaching is rational. Like I just don't. I don't know that they are, and I have only ever seen them do one thing with McCaffrey, and that's why I'm in it at the top with him, and I'm in over that. But I hear you. That's actually a very refreshing Joel take that I have not heard, and I think it's something that it's definitely something to think about and gives me pause, which I didn't really need any more pause on Christian McCaffrey, so thanks, because I had already worked through all the injury stuff, and now you're giving me more anxiety.
It's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? That it's either you let him take that full workload and run the risk of him getting hurt, or you reduce his workload and then he's not the same guy. So,
yeah. Christian McCaffrey has needed all of the opportunity to be as incredible as he has been, and not saying like he needs it the way Derrick Henry needs it. It's just I'm just saying everything that's already been said here. If you take away the all of those chances, he's just not that same dude.
Yeah.
All right, we'll flip it over to Joel's team here. Let Joel kind of talk through what you did here. Another 0 RB. Perfect mold team here you did, Joel. Let's talk about it.
So I love the quarterbacks. I like Mahomes as much as ever. I don't think that offense is going to skip a beat. I like Derek Carr. I think that offense is going to take off under Josh McDaniels and with Davante Adams. They got a ton of weapons there. And most of them are going to come through the air. So I really like Carr as a second quarterback. Like we said, Lamb is probably too big to fail. Love Pitts as a tight end. Waddle and Cooper. I actually think Waddle's going to be the wide receiver to own in Miami just because he's got that rapport with Tua. He's been there, Tyreek's got to learn Tua, not the other way around. Waddle's
That's why they're sleeping over at each other's house playing GoldenEye. I'm going to sleep over there.
There's no sleeping at Tyreek's house. That house is just always
you think they're fucking?
I mean, possibly. There's like 20 rooms that he just he didn't even show. Like he did like a walkthrough of his house, and he was just like, "Oh, those are like rooms." They didn't even. It's like, bro, this was supposed to be like MTV Cribs. You're just showing me hallways. Sorry, side tangent. My bad, Joel.
It's all good, man. It's all good. So, yeah, I like those receivers. I know everybody's down on Amari Cooper. The guy's still talented. He's going to get Deshaun for half the year. He's going to be fine. The offense is going to, the passing game is going to go through him. I think he'll be all right. As a third receiver, that's good. I'm very happy with the running backs I got for waiting so long. I like, Dobbins has got Jesus on his side. He's going to be okay. We talked about Singletary and Penny. If playoff Lenny is too fat, then Rashad White's going to get a lot of touches there. So, I'm willing to take that bet.
I do like that bet.
Like you guys, I'm a Packer fan. I'm a big believer in Watson. I think he's the guy who's going to get Davante Adams looks in the end zone. So I think he's going to kind of be their end zone guy. So I don't know how many touches he's going to get, but I think he'll get a lot of touchdowns.
I hope so.
And that's another
Julio. It's going to be Julio
take on Watson because everybody wants to say that he'll just have a bad rookie season, but he could have huge touchdown upside. I think of James Jones in that respect when James Jones got pulled off the couch and just scored a mess of touchdowns with Rodgers. I think
that's the guy he'll be.
A receiver, he could be the big body in the end zone for them. They scheme him up.
Rodgers is going to want to go to Cobb, but defenses are going to learn that real quick. And then when a defense decides that Cobb's not going to get a touchdown, he's probably not going to get a touchdown.
And he'll be hurt by September 27th.
I guess I'd probably side a little more with Tunyon and their connection in the end zone, but could definitely be that way. And just the fact they're going to run the piss out of the ball, Joel.
No,
they're just going to run so much.
I agree with that. I love Aaron Jones this year. I think he's going to be a monster. But I think Watson takes Adams' end zone role much more than Lazard. I don't see it with Lazard.
Hey, Travi, Cal is coming in for you.
I think.
I'm Dude, yes, waiting. Ronald. Thank you.
Yeah,
I've been saying that too about Watkins. Everybody's like, oh, because the contract, he's probably going to get cut. This team needs wide receivers. So unless he actually airmails the offseason, they're not going to cut him. Now he could get hurt and be done. That's more likely than anything, or whatever. But I think Watkins, again, the James Jones factor. I think he could be somebody that just surprises people this year. That's why I haven't been drafting a lot of the wide receivers. Just been taking A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, or Tunyon late, because I don't know if we're going to know game to game which guy it'll be. It'll be a lot of this and so half of everybody.
We brought it up on the last show, but everybody spent so much time in the fantasy football industry talking about the wide receivers out of Kansas City and who's going to be the dude to fill in for Tyreek. I don't hear anybody really talking with much intention about who's going to be the wide receiver in Green Bay. I mean, they had another 99 wide receiver leave the building in Davante Adams. And we're talking about the back-to-back MVP of the National Football League in Aaron Rodgers. This dude knows how to throw the rock and score touchdowns. Somebody's going to get yards. Somebody's going to get touchdowns. It's probably going to be diversified, but even still, you're going to have maybe even two wide receiver twos then on this Packers team.
It's because that wide receiver is not on this team right now. His name is
Julio
Jones. Maybe. That will be walking.
Fine, but no one's talking about Julio either. We're the only ones really talking about Julio that much. Nobody's talking. I mean, you're talking about Watson here, Joel. We had another person take Christian Watson in this mock draft marathon. A little bit of Sammy Watkins, a little bit of Randall Cobb love. Dave Kluge, who was on earlier, is big Alan Lazard fan. But I just think this conversation deserves a little bit more of a priority than a similar way that Kansas City has, because someone's going to fucking feast. Maybe not consistently, but in a week-to-week basis, we're going to have players on this squad.
And I said on Twitter the other day, you're going to go from Matt LaFleur calling an Aaron Rodgers offense to Aaron Rodgers executing a Matt LaFleur offense. So it's going to look different. Yeah. It's going to be a more horizontal offense. It's not going to be just focusing on Adams. It's going to be a different offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is probably what LaFleur has wanted to run since he got there, but he's had to do a lot of ego stroking and like,
exactly,
like work the mold with Rodgers. And you saw last year, we saw the culmination of that. Alan Lazard wide open over the middle, 3rd and 9, airmails it to Davante Adams. We're out of the playoffs. So I think that's exactly what you're seeing. Like you force Rodgers to be better by taking away his favorite toy. Like that's what I see.
I hear that.
And it wasn't just Lazard. It's like St. Brown was wide open too. He had 2 guys wide open. It just dialed in on Adams. It's
always looking at him. But Joel, we've been doing a little bit of roast and toast. So picking some teams to roast and toast here. I don't know if you have had a chance to look at some of the other teams. Obviously, we got Death by Rona in there. And then Johnny and Austin, feel free to jump in as Joel checks this out if we like anybody here. I do got to say, man, Austin, that top of that draft is just –
what do you think about it?
I'm in on Daniel Jones. So I like what you did with Melvin Gordon and Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones has one of the best upsides for like the 15 to 20 range at QB.
It kind of worked out okay, right?
Yeah, I think you recovered pretty nicely here after I think Winston's fine. But I'm all in on Barkley. Love ETN and the upside. You kind of got a little bit of does it have PPR? So you got the little bit of the floor play with Hunt with upside. Should have something happen to Chubb. It's good.
I like this one.
Brett, yep.
Yeah. Even though I'm not the biggest Trey Lance fan, I do think that pairing him with Herbert, I think it's worth the gamble there, because then if Lance is, I'm wrong, then you've got 2 mega stars right there. Then getting Swift, Fournette, and Hall as 3 straight rounds. I like that. I think you're, right amount of risk versus reward. And you kind of let value just fall where it did. And then you just hammered home these wide receivers, Robinson, Mooney, Smith. I think, Gage is in there. And then even, again, I'm not like biggest London fan, but at that point it's kind of like a free dart throw there, and might as well. And then you grabbed Williams later, and then tight end Goddard, and you picked up Pickett. I think that's a really good draft. I think you swung at the right times and you just got value at other times. I think well done. So cheers to you.
Yeah, even if I don't like all the players, I like the way that this team was drafted.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm on that one too. FF season here, good question here. And we got some really good info actually on this from Dave Kluge. He asked, what do y'all think about taking 2 receivers on the same team? Was about to take Gage at 10:06, but already had Evans. 7 out of the last 10 years in fantasy football, there's been at least 2 teams to have a to have 2 wide receiver ones. I'll say that again. In the last 10 years, 7 out of the 10 years, more than one team have had multiple wide receiver ones. And it's not hard to predict. So like this year it's Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You really like that. Maybe Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. And then if you scrape the standard down a little bit, bring that standard down a little bit. How many times did you have a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2? How many times did you have 2 wide receiver 2s? How many times did you have a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 3? It just keeps going up. And again, 7 out of the last 10 years, multiple teams have hosted multiple wide receiver 1s. So I feel fucking fine about it, man. I don't think there's any concern.
I think it's about managing expectations too, right? I mean, you're taking Russell Gage in the 10th round. You're not counting on that guy. So if he blows up, great. If not, it's not the end of your team. You're fine.
And it's like Gage is almost like one of those. He's already kind of a contingency plan for Godwin, depending on the timeline there. But what if something happens to Evans and you had them both? Then it's like you're really looking good as far as not having Evans out, but you're looking good as far as owning the Tampa Bay production through the air. And I think that's a good situation to be in. I think to
Godwin's injury is worse than we think.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm all in on I think Gage is one of the better late round wide receivers. I'm all in on that. Just all the different paths, all the different outs he has. Plus, like if Brady goes and like hand picks you, I'm paying attention to that. And I know people, that could be overblown, but I'm really paying attention to Tom Brady. He's basically playing GM now over there just to get more rings. So I'll buy into that. AB gone, Gronk gone, Godwin hurt. All that is playing into that there. But again, on that point, I just wanted to kind of come in because you can kind of see the market's only really drafting, like T. Higgins and Chase that way right now, right? So what we're trying to do with the rest of the guys is make a bet on the next team to do that. And so there's options, right? You could be like, Thielen, if he runs hot on touchdowns again, you can go grab him. A situation with Allen Robinson, who's getting a little steamed up too. There's some of these guys that are the second wide receiver that have a chance to maybe join their other counterpart. It's just about making the best bet. So
Waddle, Tyreek Joel mentioned
Waddle.
earlier. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the other one. Cause I did a whole, I was trying to do a whole like study on these guys, the top 15. And if we don't like Tua, but we like his wide receivers, can they still produce? What you find is you can have a QB in the 15 to 20 range and still get, your top 15 wide receivers. So I still think there's a chance there. And I love Waddle. I think Waddle's if I like Tyreek Hill, if I like Jamar Chase, I'm punting the first guy to get the second guy because I think it's an investment in an environment, which I really like. So, Joel, why don't you tell the people what you're working on, where they can find you? We just had an absolute blast with you, man.
It was awesome.
Second time mocking with you, but man, it's the knowledge you have in that brain of yours, man. We appreciate you doing it out here for us. So thank you so much.
It's always fun, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on. Like I said, you can find me at Club Fantasy. I just put up an article on Mike Evans that just came out today. And we'll have articles on Travis Kelce and Aaron Jones coming up. And have more stuff coming up before the season starts. And we'll be writing regularly once the betting column, once things finally fire up in September. But, it's getting there. Training camps are starting up. So.
Oh, yeah, baby. Football's starting.
Starting to scratch that itch a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
just a little.
For a different reason, but
herpes.
Oh man, Zach Wilson, get checked out, brother. No, I'm kidding.
Oh man,
Joel, thank you so much, brother.
Nice. All right, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Appreciate you, Joel.
Yeah. All right, man. Rocking and rolling. We have got one more hour left in this. What is this? Part 3?
Yeah.
Part 3. Yeah. So after this hour, we'll be halfway through. So that's a nice mark there. We're going to be joined by our guy Alex Caruso, but I think right before then, maybe we'll do a little clip here, Johnny.
Yeah, play a clip, play us out.
We'll be back on the other side of this with Alex Caruso. Really stoked.
In 5 minutes.
Dwayne, when we looked at the second year guys, just who pops out as your favorite second year fantasy football target for breakout this year?
Yeah, so for me, and this one's kind of fun because it's just such a lightning rod like in the community. But for me, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love Elijah Moore as well. I like Rashad Bateman, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, like really just when you look at what he did, in his rookie season. And here again, this comes back to, so what's the argument like on Amon-Ra St. Brown? It's that, well, man, he didn't have all those 30% target share games until, TJ Hawkinson went down. Right. And DeAndre Swift was out of the lineup. But at the end of the day, you know how good you have to be to demand 30% target shares repeatedly over and over and over. You have to be a really good, football player, like at the end of the day. And so that's what I'm buying into with a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown. And people forget, like he was only 21.9 coming out as a rookie. Jamar Chase was 21.6 years old in year one. This was not an old player. He did slip to the 4th round, and these things happen sometimes, but he posted a PFF receiving grade that was worthy. He had a wide receiver 2 season with 223 points, but he also backed it up with a wide receiver 2 worthy PFF receiving grade of an 80. And so, those are things that I look for. And so with me, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and a lot of it does come back to ADP as well. And now let's just bake in the couple of extra things. Like we still have questions with Zach Wilson, right? Zach Wilson, can he boost Elijah Moore, right, to be at the same level? Because I like Elijah Moore as well. He had a 73.8 wide receiver grade as a rookie, which was wide receiver 3 threshold. He had a 24% targets per route run, which is wide receiver 2 worthy. He also had a wide receiver 3 yards per route run of 1.75. So Elijah Moore checks a lot of similar boxes, not quite as good as Amon-Ra St. Brown, because the easiest way to find future fantasy producers is they've actually already produced in fantasy, right? Then you look at these advanced stats to help back it up. So with St. Brown, like it's just a player that I know. Jared Goff, do we love Jared Goff? No, but we've seen him support multiple fantasy weapons before. We haven't seen that, from Zach Wilson. So I do start to pull the other pieces in, but they're more tiebreakers. But the profiles of Amon-Ra St. Brown looks good. Devonta Smith checks all the boxes we want. Elijah Moore, from again, just as far as checking their talent, like they've already shown they can demand targets. They've shown in data points that are individual away from just the volume that these guys are worthy of more. Now, will they get it or not? Like some of the other factors will play, but they're all eligible. So Amon-Ra is my favorite, and I like the ADP on him as well, because now Bateman's ADP has just kind of gone, like it's going through the roof. Like and Bateman honestly graded out the lowest of all these guys. Like his PFF receiver grade, he got like just above the threshold I want for a rookie, but ultimately it was a wide receiver 6 PFF receiver grade. His targets per route run, wide receiver 6. Yards per route run, wide receiver 6. He didn't touch any of the other thresholds, but he is a former first rounder. We've seen guys that at least get to that 65 grade be a former first rounder, and if they get to that 65 grade, we've seen 9 out of 10 former first rounders eventually post a top 24 finish. So I still feel good about Bateman, but wow, like him leapfrogging all these other guys in ADP just because Marquise Brown is gone, like means I'll get exposure to him. I just probably won't be able to.
Right here.
Welcome in, Whisper Nation, to our very next 14-team PPR Superflex best ball draft with our boy Alex Caruso coming in. And, of course, we got Johnny, Game Time Hicks, and Big Travie. You know how it goes.
Yo. Another hour. Another one. Oh, yeah, best ball. Going to change up the strategy, the stratosphere.
All right. Well, this will be fun on this one. Great. Excited for this. Great to have you with us here, Whisper Nation. Love it very much. I saw Jersey J coming in. Some good questions. Kate and Michelle, who were on the show earlier, yes, they do work for NFL, and they were talking about working the draft and how much it hurt when their Pittsburgh Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett, and they were heartbroken but still had to continue working. It was a pretty funny conversation.
His girlfriend was heartbroken as well. She was about to start crying on there. Looked like it anyway.
Why?
I don't know. I wanted to ask her. It was very intriguing to me.
All right. Well, Rhett Taylor coming in. You guys have been an absolute blast. Big undertaking. Major props. Appreciate you. Appreciate the support. Great to have you here with us and everybody else. And very happy to have the one and only Alex Caruso here joining us. Come on here.
Let's go.
What's going on? Appreciate you guys having me. So excited to be here. I mean, again, what better time to do this than at midnight? I don't think I've ever done a mock draft at midnight before, so this is the first, and I could not be more excited to do it with you guys of all people.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Where you from?
Tell your mom that the Fantasy Whisperers are keeping you up at midnight. I don't know if she'd really understand maybe like what that is, but no, go ahead.
I actually told her. It's funny you say that. I actually told her today. I was on the phone with her, and I was like, you won't believe this. Like, there were these guys that I used to DM 4 years ago asking fantasy questions, and here I am 4 years later on your show at midnight on a Saturday talking about fantasy football. I mean, life doesn't get any cooler than that, so I'm so appreciative that you guys are having me on, and I can't wait to dominate this mock draft and show people what's up.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's not delay any longer then. Let's get this best ball draft rocking and rolling. And Alex, you've had a really cool orientation of fantasy football, connecting with us. Obviously, you were talking, Johnny and Travis be streaming and there's one person watching and that one person is you. And now here we are this time later. And to watch your own journey has been amazing. I mean, and even since we just had you on last, it's like your Twitter following went from like 7,000 to 16 or 17,000. I don't even know where it's been in the last couple of days. Maybe you had another 10K or something, man. But you've been flying too. Yeah. Like, can you talk a little bit about your journey here throughout fantasy football and some of the most recent excitement you've had kind of blowing up?
Yeah, I think there's definitely been some recent excitement. I'm at 20K on Twitter now, which I never imagined that I would ever hit in my entire life. But
amazing.
I think it all just kind of ties back to everything since I started. Actually, tomorrow on Monday will be the 2-year anniversary of me posting my first ever podcast, like of any fantasy content. So I think that it all ties back to the same thing. And it's just how much I love getting to do this each and every day and how much I enjoy the grind of creating content. And of course, like anything, there's your good days and your bad days. But like, I genuinely love getting to get up and do this every day. And I think that's all part of the journey. And I think the growth and everything like that has been exciting. But I think it always ties back to the fact that like I do this because I genuinely just enjoy talking about fantasy football and I get excited about it every day. So all the growth and stuff like that is nice. But you know, I'm here really just because I love what I get to do every day. And that's really what it is more than anything. But all the growth and the cool stuff has purely just been, you know, me refusing to give up and constantly trying to improve and innovate to be the best we can possibly be. So that's really it.
That's it, man, too. And I think you're so in it for the right reasons. And everybody that we end up connecting with and stay connected with kind of breathes that energy. You know, you love this. You want to push it forward, not from like you're competitive because you're a competitive person and we all compete. We compete with each other. We compete with ourselves. We compete with strangers. But like you just want to push things forward and you love this and you want this to be the best it can be. And you make that impact and then good stuff follows.
Exactly. That's all it is. And when I see Johnny's got a Swift jersey behind him, you know, I got a Swift jersey behind me over my other shoulder. So, you know, why can't you miss it on stuff like that? But this is just like the coolest thing ever for me.
Oh man, love to hear
that Swift jersey is beautiful, dude.
I know. Shout out to my dad. That was a Christmas gift. So shout out. I know he's probably not watching and he's probably way past his Raisin Bran and bedtime, but Dad, I appreciate
Your mom might get really suspicious if she knew like both of you guys were watching a show called the Fantasy Whisperers. So
yeah,
understandable. One has to cover for the other.
Of course, that's the only way to do it.
So we're in a best ball draft here. It's a super flex, but it's best ball. I want to know, Alex, what are you thinking on strategy for this? And then bring it around here to Travi and Johnny.
Yeah. So I think the way I started, I probably said this in your show the same time the last time, but there's 14 people in here, as I think anyone that's watching can see. And if there's 14 people, I'm here to win. I'm not here for second place out of 14. That's not that cool. I'm here for first place. So I am just going for absolute maximum upside and guys that can pop every single week. And I know that's a lot of people in best ball, but I'm literally trying to shoot for the moon with every single pick and be the guy that bats 200, you know, in baseball, but is going to hit 50 home runs. Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. That's a great way to put it.
And so, Travis, what do you think? How do you think that impacts like the players you're picking? And the question we always ask in Superflex: how heavy are you going quarterbacks? How early are you going quarterbacks?
Well, and I think that's another reason. So why I took Kyler Murray over Pat Mahomes, right? Because it might be a little contrary to say, but I actually think that Kyler Murray's ceiling is a little higher than Pat Mahomes this year. And that's just because Pat Mahomes has got some things changing on, and Kyler Murray is going to run more, most likely, than Pat Mahomes. And probably be more aggressive throwing down the field. I don't know, but Mahomes is kind of definitely going through some changes, we'll say, to quote the Big Mouth opening song. But I am really in on Kyler Murray. I like Caruso's pick of Jalen Hurts, and I would be taking even like Death by Rona. Shout out to Scott, taking Russell Wilson over Brady. I think in a best ball, that's the right move to make, just to shoot for the moon with all of Brady's changes. So that's kind of where I'm at, looking at the QBs in a super flex with a best ball scoring format.
Yeah, it kind of feels like almost you can kick the quarterback a little bit because you could, like, for instance, we don't have as many rounds here in this mock draft for the best ball, but normally as we going into the 20s, like you could just get a lot of quarterbacks. Like you could say, I'm gonna get 4 or 5 quarterbacks instead. And maybe that serves you a little bit better because then you take, your Jamar Chases, your Jonathan Taylors early on. I don't know. What do you think, Johnny?
I think you have to plan for it, but yeah, you could cover yourself by taking, 3 or 4 quarterbacks, but maybe not enough 14 teamer, but
it makes it
you know,
tricky.
you just attack it with high upside guys. Cause like you said, it's best ball. So your best player automatically gets put in for you. You don't have to like make those guesses week to week. Hey, so you just take upside guys later. I think it's fine. I think it's smart.
Who was able to get Mahomes and Jamar Chase? That's a nice. I like that start.
Yeah.
I was
Optimus find. Or Optimus. Is that what it is? Sorry, it's like Optimus Hind.
Optimus Hind. That's right.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to take a quarterback right now. Well,
Don't do it, dude. Let him fall.
I think I am going to take one here.
Oh, you caved.
I think Aaron Rodgers does bring a little bit of that in a best ball format. I like Aaron Rodgers in a best ball format here. And if it was redraft or a different non-best ball, probably wouldn't have.
Like you get those patented spike games out of Rodgers because he's definitely going to have a few of those still, but it'll be interesting to see what you do at quarterback. The other thing about Superflex, I really screwed us with this format when I was making it.
Dude.
But
I'm thinking about this right now. I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it, dude.
You would go multiple quarterbacks in best ball without Superflex, you know, because you're trying to get all the 1 week matchups. Now we got to really you got a really good quarterback when there are no quarterbacks.
And there's 14 teams.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. What you do? I don't know. Have 3 of them, baby.
We'll get crazy here.
Your boy's winning.
I feel like the Drew Carey show, where it's like
Drew Carey show.
Yeah, the points don't matter, or not. Whose line is it, anyways? The points don't matter, and we do whatever. Yeah. Alex, did you? I think when we tried to schedule you worked tonight, huh? So did you serve tonight?
No, I actually didn't. I worked last night instead. They were able to put it, so I was just with my friends tonight, and I got to do this. So thankfully I did not have to serve like 6 or 7 hours and do this. But for you guys, I would do anything, even though I got 3 a.m. Taking the 4 a.m. slot. So no, I mean I thankfully got the night off tonight.
Nice.
Oh, these are some really, really good picks here. I'm really liking this. I'm having a lot of trouble with where I'm going with my pick here because I'm between Tua and going for someone like Aaron Jones, going for the absolute moon. But I'm kind of in this 2 quarterback thing, kind of leaning someone like Tua, especially because, again, I just feel like that Tyreek Hill is just going to make him look so much better like he would with any quarterback. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Tua here.
I think Tua's a slept-on quarterback this year.
Yeah. Oh, if I knew Travis Kelce was there, I probably would have taken him. But that is shame on me for not looking at the tight end spot.
Hey, we were distracting you. We wanted you to. Yeah,
I almost took Kelce, but then we got to talking about the QBs, and I'm like, I don't want to be, no offense, broke out. I don't want to be broke out, but on the outside looking in right now on the QB situation. So,
like in our last mock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like you can in this one. Just and we'll see again because there's 14 teams and it is a super flex. So I'm curious to see how late Marcus Mariota goes. Who wasn't even taken in our last super flex, even in a wider field.
I was going to be taking him here right now. No,
I don't know. I'm curious to see where the Baker Mayfields and the Davis Mills and the Mitch Trubisky's.
I love the Jameis Winston pick. I think that he could be fantastic. If Tua got taken, I may have taken Jameis Winston. I really love what I think he's going to do this year with that triple threat passing attack, and that they ran a lot of 3 wide receiver sets the last time that Carmichael was the offensive coordinator. And you have Jarvis Landry, a potentially healthy Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and Chris Olave. I mean, that Saints passing attack with a defense that I think has only gotten worse could be very slept on this year.
Well, let me ask you this then, Caruso. If we got rid of Michael Thomas, if we knew Michael Thomas wasn't going to be healthy, like he's done for the year, where
we were like Smitty and just declined a player dead as soon as they get injured,
how would that affect Jameis Winston for you?
If Michael Thomas wasn't going to play, or he was going to play?
Yeah, if he was out.
If he was out, I don't know. I'd probably have him near my QB 20. I just don't know if the upside would be complete there with just Olave and Jarvis Landry. I think a healthy Michael Thomas makes a big difference. Obviously, training camp will tell if he's actually there. We have to see it on the field. It's been 2 years, but I don't know. I always just get hung up on the potential and just the hope. Like, I was a big Julio Jones guy last year. Like, whoever the next injured wide receiver that's over 30 is, like, that's my guy for better or for worse, just because you always believe that the talent is still there no matter how old they get.
Marquez Callaway, dude, doesn't spike any
I didn't even
interest.
But what about Deontay Hardy? You know, he was one of 6 wide receivers last year with a 30% target share when active. You know, the only others were like AJ Brown, Cooper Kupp, Davante Adams, Kadarius Toney, and I think Antonio Brown. Like, that's a pretty elite list right there for Deontay Hardy to be named in.
You know, I want to talk a little bit about the Saints on this because I feel I'm with you, Alex, and I've been with you this whole time. I took Jameis Winston in our Superflex league in the mock right before this one here, but I got to look at the Saints, and we're so used to them kicking ass, right? And we're so used to this whole team being efficiently and smartly ran with Sean Payton and Drew Brees, and I feel like we could be halfway through the season, and the Saints might be like really bad, and we'll look back and say like, well, what did we really expect? Like Chris Olave, I think he's going to be great, but he's a rookie. Jarvis Landry's on a new team coming off major surgery. Michael Thomas still isn't healthy, and it's been a long time since he played football. Like Alvin Kamara is really good, but there's still the suspension. That's a possibility. And I don't know if it's still the same Alvin Kamara 100%. And with a new coach, a new way of playing, like, is there a world where I will take Alvin Kamara though? Is there a world though here? Like, obviously I'm still in on him. I just selected Alvin Kamara, but could we see a path where the Saints are just like actually kind of middle of the road to bad from a NFL, from a fantasy, from an everything perspective?
Of course, we're one. Michael Thomas has been gone for 2 years and he's not there yet, and an Alvin Kamara suspension away from seeing that. I mean, it's really not that far away when both of those guys, it seems like it could be 50-50 that we actually see them, you know, on the field or good versions of them on the field this year. So I think that's actually a decent possibility, and I think it's weird, you know, for people to imagine a bad Patriots team, you know, like we've seen like the last couple of years that has not been great. Like, again, I don't think like it's the NFL. Like every team is competing to win. Everyone has the same salary cap. It's not baseball, you know, where there's a big difference. So I think it's definitely very possible that we could see some teams bad that, you know, we wouldn't normally see bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to come around to this one. They pulled it off last year, which is, I think, bridging our expectations, you know, because it was a little bit of a different squad. It was operating. They were still successful. But now it's really different. Like Sean Payton's gone, you know, like they didn't have weapons last year, and I'm not sold that they do this year too. I like Olave long term again, but I'm not sure they have him this year.
I do think it's kind of baked in on a lot of these guys, like ADP though. Like Winston's going pretty late. I think Kamara is going later than we've ever got him, you know, because of the suspension stuff. And I think it's kind of worth the juice is worth the squeeze a little bit on those guys.
Yeah, especially Olave, right? And in a best ball, because then you're just getting the boom weeks, and those boom weeks are going to be nice, Clark.
Yeah, probably. Trevor, you went ahead and took 3 quarterbacks. You're just starting to say, like, load them up, baby.
Yeah, it's best ball, right? I would have taken 3 quarterbacks in a single quarterback best ball league. Like, I probably would have, right? Like, you're going to try and get all the different weeks. So I think in a super flex, I'm going to stack as maybe one more. I'll maybe get one more quarterback. Just depends on falls.
I thought you were totally going to go with bro, I would have drafted 3 quarterbacks even as a single quarterback redraft league.
Yeah, maybe.
I was like, oh, damn.
And like Watson feels like the right best ball. Like he's one of those best ball guys for sure. Just like if it's going to happen, you know, you get it late and you get all the spike weeks out of it. You don't have to worry about anything else. So maybe I got to worry about the value I missed out on by taking him here. But again, I think 3 options to get me 2 pretty good ones every week with 3 rushing quarterbacks.
I think this is the draft I'm the most curious to see how it all shakes out when it's all said and done. Like, we really haven't done one quite like this. I'm not sure there's a consensus strategy on how to tackle it.
Definitely super tough to tackle something like this, especially if you miss on a quarterback and you have to wait another like 14 plus picks to make another pick, like that makes it really, really difficult, because I think you're constantly playing a game of like, how much do I trust this player can make it back to me? And you're constantly playing the risk and reward. But then you also come into the fact that we talked about of just, okay, you're playing against 14 people and you want to win here, you know, so how high can you shoot for the fences while also playing that same risk and reward game? So I think that a 14-team Superflex best ball quarterback type of thing, especially in a place where people can actually take 3 quarterbacks and completely take away your ability to even get a starting quarterback in the NFL if you have quarterback 33. I mean, that gets very, very dangerous very quickly in something like this, which makes it so amazing.
Your boy doesn't have to worry about that because I got Josh Allen, Derek Carr, and Kirk Cousins, baby.
You don't think you have to worry about it, but you still have to worry about it, dude. Like,
one of those 2 guys at least will be top 5 every week.
Well, you need 2 of them.
Yeah, and the other one will be on. He'll be at least good enough, if not 2 popping off.
Hey, Troy.
Over.
On that note, it seems like there's only maybe 1, maybe 2 starting quarterbacks left. So why not make it fun and just take my 3rd quarterback just to make these other guys sweat?
Do it.
Again, there's how many? Oh, I'm sorry, Austin. I didn't realize you had 1 quarterback. But
no, don't be sorry.
2 teams, 1 quarterback.
Stuck up that garbage. Stuck up all that wasted value. You think that's going to be good for you? It's not. I'll. You can still start a wide receiver in a super flex spot.
That's true.
And I am feeling just fine that Amari Cooper is going to score more points than Marcus Mariota. This is a full point PPR. Okay, so that's okay. I got that going for me here.
Yeah,
this is a half point PPR. You did a non PPR, Travis. Do a dual flex best ball standard format.
Oh my gosh!
Is that 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. draft?
There is another best ball, I think. Let me go check. Oh man, let me see. So we did another 14-team half point best ball PPR.
Okay,
with the Get Right Boys, but it's not. It'll be single QB. And that one's at 1 a.m. East or 1 a.m. Pacific. So, yeah.
It's horrible. Yeah, it's all gone.
Yeah,
they're all gone.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's nothing left. They're all gone. Doesn't matter. They're all gone. No, it is such an interesting one now. You get like,
oh man, dude, eroding.
No, it's so eroded here. But then again, it's one of those ones like, everybody's like, oh, look, I got all these good quarterbacks. Like, do you really, Mr. Baker Mayfield and Carson Wentz? Like, do you really think you've got a good situation going? Because I played a super flex last year with Ben Roethlisberger as a second quarterback, and I was playing his own wide receiver ahead of him in Deontay Johnson, and he was doing better most of the time anyway. So it's like in a PPR setup, and I'm assuming these are 4-point passing touchdowns, you don't have to start a quarterback there.
That's an interesting point. The 4-point passing touchdowns. So that's an interesting point there because then you don't get the advantage. It is a 4-point passing touchdown best ball league.
So enjoy Marcus Mariota, Caruso.
Yeah.
Johnny is killing me in this thing. Breece Hall, Etienne, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like those are like my 3 favorite players. My 3 biggest exposures in best ball right now are those 3 guys.
Let's go, dude. Sniping you. That's what it's all about. Dude, I've done enough of these now. No, I'm actually like loving this draft right now. No,
it's phenomenal draft.
You probably have one of the better ones up here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
It only took till midnight.
Alex Jones saying, "Can we get a birthday call out for my main man Zing? Happy birthday, Zing!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, man! Don't know who you are, but I love you already. Glad you were born.
That's where Troy is right now. They have a barbecue, so they're throwing us up at the barbecue. Shout out to the barbecue.
Troy having a barbecue doesn't mean I know who Zing is, but happy birthday, Zing! Appreciate you, man.
Travis.
Hey, you're supposed to automatically trust it because it's a friend of a friend.
Oh no, I feel it. I just still don't know who Zing is. You could tell me a million things. I don't think I'd know.
Bro, Zing is having a barbecue.
Hey,
no. Troy's having the barbecue.
You know what? Hey, I'm not even kidding. I'm real talk. Like Zing looks so much like Smitty. Zing looks so much like Smitty. It's hilarious. Like if you were to put on a backwards hat, I want to do a skit with him because it would be really funny. Because it looks.
Caruso,
like
did you wanted my boy A-Rob there? Or what?
Oh, I really thought he was gonna make it to me, and then you sniped him last minute.
I almost went
between Michael Thomas and Robinson in best ball. I was like,
yeah, no, it's a nice pick.
At least it's not health with Robinson. That's why I went that way.
Yep, absolutely.
Dusted or not, and I don't think he is, but
I don't think so at all. He's another one of my favorite guys to get. I think that again, we've seen OBJ and Allen and OBJ and Robert Woods, performing that role in this offense. I think Matthew Stafford's another year in. I don't think we see that same exact target share and triple crown that Cooper Kupp did. So I think all things are, really looking up for Allen Robinson. And they gave him a 10% raise on his last contract. Like they're paying him more than he was getting paid on his like a nice contract for the Bears. Like they just shelled out what 15 or 16 million a year for him. Like you're not doing that unless you have a big plan for these guys. And especially when they were first in passing rate inside the 5 and second in passing rate inside the 10. Like that screams some Allen Robinson touchdowns when he's never had more than 7 since 2015. So big things could be coming.
That's
I love it.
That's gem.
I got a gem that I'm picking on this next one. I'm so excited. I can't even keep this smile off my face.
Is it Ritter, dude? You've been doing some research, and Ritter looks like
y'all are fucking up. But now, when you see the player that I'm about to take, y'all are gonna be like, "Damn it! How is he still available in this best ball Superflex? Fuck out of here, Austin! What a pick!
That just saved your whole draft.
Just get ready, dude. You can't wait for this.
Oh, I know.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
Keeping the people excited.
All right, Alex, you're coming up here.
I know. I'm a little scared. I'm having trouble here.
Dude, he's getting
Austin's got you on
tilt. Austin's got you on tilt, dude. He's like, I want to make sure I get whoever player he's talking about.
I know, seriously. I want to just draft Chase Edmonds and hope that's exactly who he's going for. But
oh my God, he's so much better than Chase Edmonds. He's a Hall of Famer compared to Chase Edmonds.
The show, Chase Edmonds.
All right, we're gonna go straight upside again on a team with I think 67% of its targets available. I think it's the most in the NFL. So,
I like the Burks pickup. I like that one a lot.
I'm not on. I think Burks gonna, dude. Actually, who I am on with. No one's brought up his name. It's a deep set, but honestly, in this format, NWI, dude. NWI. Neil or
over Burks.
Nick. Yeah,
Neil Westbrook Akine.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yes, dude.
All right,
I think when he is
oh my God,
played,
I can't believe this guy is still available. You guys were liking Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston's not doing anything because our boy is coming back here, baby. He's coming back, dude. Hall of Famer. How'd y'all let him sleep? He doesn't want to be broadcasting. He wants to be scoring me points from a best ball.
The setup, dude. The setup is he's the Hall of Famer compared to.
Cheers to that. Hey, cheers to that. That was well done.
Yeah, that checks out. He literally is.
He just saved himself from being the roasted team.
Well, I looked up. Peyton Manning wasn't available, so I took Drew Brees. So.
Look, but real talk, we'll try and justify this pick here only because he was rumored to be in and out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Maybe could happen. We're trying to hype up Will Fuller and Julio Jones and get that route. They all still are not on a team. So, hey, we're in best ball in a league that doesn't matter and a fake draft for a fake game about another game. This works out, dude.
Desperate times, you know what I mean? Call for awesome measures, and I'm stoked I was able to pull that shit off. So,
dude, how dope would that have been if you got sniped on that?
What's going to be hilarious, yeah, right? Or what happens if Drew Brees comes back? He actually comes back. It's oh, wow. Austin team would have been mega boss.
Mega boss.
Mega boss. Yeah, I'm here for that.
Kind of like my Gronk pick.
Oh, nice pick. I was about to take James Cook. That's a great one right there, especially with the offense that he's tied to. Yeah. And the fact they don't have a real pass catching guy. I think that could be big.
I've come around to James Cook. Stepmom Lauren and I had a spirited conversation about him and Singletary to start the mock draft marathon off. And I'm on board now with James Cook just because he could, we don't pick Alvin Kamara to be Alvin Kamara. We don't really pick Austin Eckler to be Austin Eckler. These guys end up becoming something that was a punch above their weight class. They're able to handle a lot more. And James Cook, to me, just profiles as one of those potentials. Do I think that is his role? No, I don't. But do I think it's possible? Absolutely. And especially with the competition in front of him and the offense he plays for, James Cook could be a spicy player for a while.
I like Georgia running backs, though, too. That's the other thing. It's I did like that. That was one thing I was like, he played for Georgia. They've always produced good running backs. But then, yeah, like you said, once hearing some arguments, changed my opinion. I do like
I'm over here texting Donnie, the intern, asking him, "Hey, what do we think about the Drew Brees selection by Austin as a tweet to put out there for describing this crazy draft?" And he goes, "I'm already ahead of you. I'm about to post it."
Shout out to Donnie.
Donnie is an absolute legend. Got to give him some love here. Just been in the back, grinding away here, getting
keeping our Twitter up.
So, yeah, it's just been awesome, and he's been responding to guests, interacting with the fans out there. I think we've gained about 25 or so followers on Twitter alone. So Donnie, putting in great work. We appreciate you, brother.
Much love, dude.
Donnie.
Shout out to Donnie.
So where are you on Chase Claypool? Real quick, do you like him? Do you not like him?
Do I like him or not like him? I'm not in on him as much. I'm not even I was a Deontay Johnson guy last year, but I think this quarterback room is going to be a lot different, and I don't see what they're going to be willing to just shell out the targets. Do I like where Chase Claypool is picked in his upside? Sure. I just don't think we often see guys with rookie quarterbacks to the number 2 receiver on their team at absolute best with a lot of competition that end up really showing up and showing out. I'd rather draft a guy like I just drafted, like Sky Moore, that has a bigger, easier path to competition, either path to targets with a much better quarterback, in a wide receiver room that actually has a lot more open targets.
Oh, hearing Big Trappy get sniped, dude.
Dude, this is like...
I love it, baby.
What is this thing, dude?
Were you going to take Sky Moore?
Yeah, I was.
Going
I
to.
like him there, yeah.
Dude, you sniped him
I'll
so
take
hard.
Jameson
That was
instead.
classic. Oh, my gosh.
Well, I like Tim Patrick. That's a nice pick.
Yeah, I was looking at Patrick, too. Also, DJ Shark in this range, I think, could be interesting. But Jameson's got real big upside. Just got to wait out the injury.
Yeah, when is he going to be back, though?
Probably October. But again, in best ball, I should get enough. If I can get some good wide receivers even more here and get some spiked weeks out of them, then I could get him back as rocket fuel down the stretch in the playoffs for this make-believe
couple
league.
of spiked weeks there. Speaking of some spikes, the first time I've taken any Rachaad White shares in any mock that we've done at all, and I just love him in a best ball type format here.
Yeah, we definitely want him in a best ball.
What would be interesting in best ball with Rachaad White is I think the Bucs wanted to get other backs involved in the passing game than Fournette, but they just couldn't happen because Giovanni Bernard got hurt, Ronald Jones can't catch. So if this situation, Rachaad White is a really good pass catching back, and you could get even before Fournette gets hurt or maybe fades away, Rachaad White could get some spiked weeks. So in best ball could be a really good, especially in PPR.
Troy coming here with an interesting question. Alex, how much has the NBA Alex Caruso offered for the Twitter handle? You guys do spell your name the same way, right?
Yeah,
we do. We spelled the exact same way. He has not come calling yet, for the Twitter handle, but it's going to cost at least half of his next contract, that is coming in. So, as long as there's an M next to whatever he's offering me, then I think I would at least consider, as long as it's signed jersey with it.
That's the level for consideration.
Yeah.
Bro, that would be sick. He gets you $1 million.
Yeah,
then you could
that would be sick.
I'm just saying, it was a great handle to have.
No, Johnny goes, "Hey, Alex, hear me out, dude. It would be sick if he gave it."
No, Alex, 500,000. I want $1 million.
Well,
says no to 500,000.
Here's the thing. I was honestly going towards you're telling me if it was $500K, you wouldn't turn it down. But then he said the millions the M comment. I was like, damn, $1 million would be pretty dope to get from a Twitter handle.
Yeah, that would be. That would be. Shout out to the last guy for helping me out with the Twitter handle that previously had Alex Caruso. I think I had 200 followers at the time when I made the investment to do this. So
Alex was I only had to pay $900,000 for this deal.
Yeah, seriously. That's why I said $1 million because of how much I had to pay. The $975 that I had to pay just to get it.
You make a cool $100K.
Oh, I did not think that Jalen Colbert was going to go here.
Damn you, Travis! I thought I should have been in the next round.
I have watched Jalen Colbert get sniped for me in every mock draft thus far. I was not going to let that happen in best ball.
Here is a really nice best ball pick that I think is starting to look more and more real by the day. I really like this pick of TDP.
What makes you like him more now? What makes him going up for you?
What was the reports that came out, I think, yesterday or the day before that were saying that they're really concerned about Elijah Mitchell being able to hold up because he's a smaller guy, and that's exactly why they drafted TDP, because not only doesn't seem like that, also says they don't really believe in Trey Sermon to be able to play that role right behind him. And when he got banged up in a lot of games right last year, I think he's great. But again, like we haven't seen, a running back be the starter for 2 full years in a row since like Carlos Hyde. Granted, did Elijah Mitchell get more touches than just about anyone, and they seem to trust him more than anyone? Yeah, that's true. But again, he was not really exactly holding up like we'd like him to see. I love Elijah Mitchell. I hope he can do it. But I think they drafted TDP for a reason. And I think in a best ball draft, when I'm playing with 3 handsome, smart gentlemen, above and below me, I think you got to go all out to find a way.
I love that.
It's like
I was going to go anti TDP take, but after you called me handsome, I can't. There's nothing I can do.
I mean, I just speak the truth, just like saying the fan takes. I just call it like I see it, and people can believe or not believe.
I think he's just a guy where the ADP is right. Now, if he gets teamed up a little bit more, like if he's going to go in the range of like, I don't know, like the Spiller or the other guy, some of the other guy ranges, because those guys at least I think less competition, like Ken Walker or something like that. Like if he's going to go with the 2-back range, that's where I'd get a little bit spooked off, only because like we've been down this road trying to believe these beat writers from San Francisco that they know anything about the team at all. And I don't know that they do. And I don't know that we could be how pissed and on tilt are we going to be when TDP is 4th on the depth chart and Jeff Wilson's the real, backup, or like Trey Sermon is the real, but like this is all within the range of possibilities. We're just turning the wheel for Shanahan every season. Now I like TDP's profile. He looks good, but I liked Sermon as well. He wasn't a great fit for the system, but I thought his upright running style could have been good. Was not. And we could see a situation where Mitchell either doesn't give it up or they go to someone completely new. Maybe they sign Austin before the season. I don't know. A lot can happen. Yeah, San Francisco, baby. Going to the mall.
I like the Bay. That's cool. You can go up there.
Oh, I love the KJ Osborne pick there.
I know.
Especially, I saw a tweet from my guy Zarad the other day on Twitter about how the role will change, where he was 31st, I think, in the NFL in routes run last year, and like Van Jefferson was 16th. So with the 11 personnel that they'll play in this new offense, that opens up big things for KJ Osborne already, especially when he was, I don't throw away, garbage stat, but he was, number 1 in the NFL when targeted last year for passer rating for Kirk Cousins. That probably means nothing, but he's going into his 3rd year. We don't know if Adam Thielen can hold up, and he produced last year some big weeks. So I think he's also a nice best ball pick as well with big upside.
Osborne, Van Jefferson, Jalen Tolbert, Tim Patrick are all great contingency wide receiver picks.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but one other small thing on KJ Osborne. Patrick Peterson said on his Vikings podcast a couple weeks ago that if any player is going to break out on the Vikings, it's KJ Osborne. He thinks that he's a lock for over 1,000 yards. Yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but that's a really interesting nugget from a guy that's trying to guard KJ Osborne. It's not like he's a safety, or the water boy. Like he's literally guarding this guy every day and watching him work. So that's a pretty interesting take.
I could totally see that, 50 catches, 655 yards, and 7 touchdowns last year. Adam Thielen is going one direction. Like KJ Osborne really could be in a position to swoop that up in that higher powered offense this year. I like that.
I really like that. That's awesome. Look at that, dude. Alex always dropping bombs, little nuggets for you in your draft. Last time it was the Jonnu Smith when we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. Austin went.
I picked him up. Picked him up on that one.
I was pissed. I was gonna go pick him up, but I did get him in Scott Fishbowl, so as my 7th.
You still liking the Jonnu Smith take from a couple weeks back, Alex?
I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it. They have a lot of mouths to feed. I really like Jonnu Smith, but
dude.
I don't know. It's just so hard to say because I feel like besides that, I haven't seen a lot of other hype about Jonnu Smith. I'm more of a Hunter Henry guy at this point.
Well, there is that best friend narrative, dude. Jonnu and them. Like Jonnu was saying how Mac Jones was like the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah,
dude, they have like lockers close near each other in the shower together.
Sounds like Mac is Jonnu's best friend, but maybe Jonnu isn't Mac's best friend.
Yeah,
that could be a problem.
Yeah, maybe Mac is a Davante Parker guy now. Things can change when you or maybe Tyquan Thornton. I don't think so.
No,
but
I don't think so.
Poor Tyquan.
Oh no, he's a Julio Jones guy. He's going to be a Julio Jones guy pretty soon. So,
is that no, dude? Julio's going to Green Bay, man.
I hope so.
Yes, we do need that. Although I will say, dude, if Mac Jones gets Julio, woo!
Manually misuse him.
Oh my goodness, that is going to be sexy.
Do you honestly believe that?
Yes.
Do those words come out of your mouth and like sit with you?
Hell
all right?
yeah. Hell yeah, it does. You know why? Because Bill Belichick's, he puts players in the right position to succeed. And he's given Mac Jones, my boy, Mac Jones, another piece that is like, dude, I love that.
It's really interesting. Interesting to see what could happen there. I think there's a lot of potential, a lot of upside. So I think there's a lot of very interesting things that could happen. I'm excited. I have to go back to Austin on this for my last pick today. I have a guy that is a Hall of Famer in a certain category with multi-positional flexibility.
Jason Witten.
No. It's not going to be a crazy pick. It's someone that realistically could work out. We saw it last year, before the season, of a guy that had a lot of hype, and I think that there's
Curtis Samuel.
Don't say Taysom Hill. Don't say Taysom Hill.
I'm not going to say Taysom Hill. I'll wait a little bit.
Look, Drew Brees got taken, so anything.
Yeah.
We got to out.
No, this one is nowhere near as crazy as Drew Brees. I have a lot of faith in this pick.
Oh.
All right.
The Austin Hooper pick is for you, Austin.
Dude, I love Austin Hooper, man, as a late round tight end snag. Like, of all these guys that people are picking up and just a dart throw tight end, Austin Hooper has been a tight end one before. He's like 26, 27 years old. The rapport from him and Tannehill at a camp has been strong, reportedly so. Like, he was just buried in Cleveland behind a run-heavy system and 3 total tight ends on that squad. It's a totally different landscape. I'm not saying it's Atlanta where he came from when he was like a tight end 6 on limited playing time, but I like what he's looking at in Tennessee, and I don't hear anybody talking about him at all, and I think that's going to change as we get closer to week 1.
Yep, I completely agree. Oh, my pick is up, but I said multi-positional flexibility. I think this player showed a lot of upside in camp last year. It didn't necessarily work out, like you said about Curtis Samuel, but a guy that I think with the right team, could do a lot of big things this year. And again, a Hall of Famer in the biblical category.
One
of the great.
Come back.
He just needs to sign with the right team. I need multi-positional flexibility. Let's ball upside. He's done it before. Why can't he do it again?
No.
I said I have faith. Did you guys not hear me say I have faith in this?
You have that J.K. Dobbins faith, apparently.
Faith like Tebow.
Damn.
Leave it up to God, my brother in Christ. What a pick.
Take a knee, dude.
Wow.
Who needs Gronk at the end of your draft?
Who needs Gronk?
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Who needs Gronk, bro, when you can get Tim Tebow, man?
Dude, there was a clip Tim Tebow in preseason. Bro, preseason he was playing. They're like, "Oh, Tim Tebow on the field. Watch him. Oh, he just made it." He's like, "Oh, great move by Tebow." Bro, they replayed it, and the guys are breaking out, and Tim Tebow literally whiffs on a block and causes the running back to get hit. And they're like, "Well, Tim Tebow's, he's learning the position right now. What can you expect?" You're like, "Bro, you guys are so just." Oh my gosh, Alex!
I have a TikTok video from last year. I hope no one will find it. That was a why Tim Tebow could be a tight end 1 this year. It was more of a joke, but there was like a legitimate case to make for it.
It's on the internet forever now, Alex.
And I'll stand by it. That's why I drafted him. I was hyped about him last year. I'm hyped about it this year. And again, positional flexibility with a Hall of Fame potential in a certain category. How much better can it get?
I love it. Alex, why don't you break down your PPR Superflex 14 team best ball team here? What a mouthful.
What a fun draft.
Yeah, I think my team is interesting. Like, I think the quarterback play is good, but I think Austin also made a great point that maybe I didn't need Marcus Mariota there. That would probably be the one thing that I would change. But I love my running backs that I can lean on in Barkley and Akers. I think both of them have, legitimate upside. I think Kyle Pitts is a great tight end to draft, obviously. I think, and a good comparison, a good guy to pair with Marcus Mariota. Should Mariota be good, obviously. I think my wide receiver is the thing to worry about, but I like the upside, when it comes with Michael Thomas, Treylon Burks, Gage, Moore, and Osborne. And then I think I have running backs that could legitimately be the running back 1 on their teams this year, and TDP and Kenneth Gainwell. And then, I had I saved the best pick for last. So, I don't know. I don't think this is the greatest team I drafted, overall outside of Tim Tebow, but I'm pretty happy with how it went overall.
I love how Ronald here, he was just getting impatient. He was like, let him just say it. He was keeping you in suspense.
Yeah, he wanted
Ronald.
Close to the chest, Ronald.
Dude, can we do an actual best ball draft here one of these Mondays and do a 14 team? Let's do a standard
on an underdog.
Yeah.
If they let us do that. I don't know.
So we can actually see how it works out.
Yeah.
We want to know how these drafts go down.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
This was fun.
Alex, why don't we take a look at the board here and see if you like a couple of your favorites, and then maybe a couple of teams that really make you nervous here.
A couple of my favorite teams or players of my own team.
No, take a look at the other teams, and while you're taking a look, because you gotta take a second to look at it and process and stuff. Travis, what do you think about your squad? What's your top level look on this wild mock draft?
I don't mind it. I think I was able to get a couple quarterbacks. We'll see what happens with the Watson thing. I didn't have to be on the outside looking in at quarterback. I feel good about Murray and Fields. Now, obviously, Fields or Murray could bust, and then you'd be kind of shit out of luck. But I'll run the gambit there against the other teams. Really like the upside of James Conner and A.J. Dillon in a best ball format, and then kind of waited on running back till Tyler Algier. And then Raheem Mostert. I just think Raheem Mostert's another guy. If we like Sony Michel, if we like Chase Edmonds, you might as well take a gamble on Raheem Mostert. He's ran the system before, and he's been dynamic in it. He probably won't stay healthy, but again, best ball, I can get the spike weeks out of him there. And then the wide receivers was one of my favorite positions or favorite, drafted style here. Stephon Diggs early. I really like that. I think he's not getting talked enough about as a guy that can be the number one overall wide receiver. And then Allen Robinson, Tyler Lockett, Jameson Williams, Jalen Tolbert, and DJ Shark, just guys with big upside in my mind. And maybe Lockett doesn't have huge upside, but he's going to have spiked weeks. And in best ball, I think that's the only place I'm going to have Lockett this year would be in best ball.
I like that breakdown. I think that's a pretty good take. Before we kick it to Alex Caruso for his either roast or toast, Johnny, we like the way your team started out there. Caruso had mentioned your first 5-6 rounds there with Josh Allen, Carr, Cousins, and Hall, Etienne, and St. Brown. We all love that. How did you feel the second half of your draft shaked out?
I liked it. I didn't love it. Some of those, I thought for sure some of the wide receivers that got taken in those 8th, 9th rounds. Dude, you guys sniped me for sure. But I like the upside. Again, I started just at that point, I was like, okay, if these guys are still going to take these, the guys I like, I got to just start swinging. And so I did Tyler Boyd. If anything happens, Tyler Boyd's still a nice wide receiver. He's very talented. Ron Moore, again, he can take it to the house on any play. Josh Palmer, again, he gets those deep targets. And then I'm pushing Paris Campbell, man, comeback player of the year. You won't.
Oh, I like that. It's not that late of a pick.
Yeah.
I do like that.
And then, because we do know Matt Ryan still has a good touch on that deep ball.
Sure.
And then Evan Ingram, I do think, you always look at Doug's, boy Dougie, and what he likes to use. He likes to use the tight end. And we
I really like your last two picks.
Yeah.
I like your last two picks. Those are nice. Those are good. All right, Alex Caruso, team that you saw other than someone on the panel either that deserves a roast or a toast.
Yeah.
Oh, roast or a toast.
Yeah, your call.
Oh, okay. I'm not one for putting people down or roasting people. I'd rather lift up. I can't see his name. I don't know if it's Dirty G. I don't know what that says. Do you say it on your screen?
Dirty Jersey.
Dirty Jersey. Okay, Dirty Jersey is the team that I would toast to. I actually really love his team and the upside on it. I love the Joe Burrow pick. Fun fact about Daniel Jones, he's hit at least 27 fantasy points in 16% of his starts, almost 1 in 6 games. That's an excellent second quarterback play to pick there. I love Swift. I love the breakout potential, between Debo and Jalen every week. I don't know about the running backs as much with J.K. Dobbins, Ramondre Stevenson, Ronald Jones, but I like what he's thinking there. But I just really love the Dallas Goedert and Bob Tunyon picks, combined with Jacoby Myers and Hunter Renfrow. I just really like how his team is built overall, and he's someone that I definitely would watch out for, especially because those first 5 picks I think were just absolute textbook.
A lot of what Alex just said could be talk about Jay as his team and him. Really stacked I'd be worried to face him maybe in a dark alley. Jersey J just jacked up here right now.
I'm a little concerned about this area, but overall, good situation.
Yeah, we love it. Love it. That's great. Anything? Any other team? Did somebody make second place for you, Alex, in your toast team?
That's not on the panel because my team would have been Johnny. Like I think Johnny had the best draft out of anybody tonight. You know, it wasn't the midnight hour. I'm sorry, Johnny. I don't mean to go back at you again, but that team was someone that was really impressive to me. But another team that I really, really, really liked is right next to Johnny. In the Bears, I can't see it's Mr.
Meeseeks.
I think he had an awesome team, and I really liked how he built it with Herbert and Mac Jones. I actually like the Zeke.
I like this too.
Someone that's consistent every week, but I absolutely love the Mark Andrews pick. And then you go with Davante Adams, Cooks, Godwin if he's healthy, Devontae Smith, and then the Van Jefferson and Kendrick Bourne picks.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the draft with guys like Nyheim Hines and Darrell Henderson, Elijah Mitchell, I really, again, for a best ball draft that you are just swinging for the fences and hope that you can find your way to first place, I really, really love his team, and I think that he did an excellent job here.
Yeah. This is a really good team. I like
Well, there it is, man. This is a funky draft, but it again just goes to the point of I think sometimes these thought experiments are good for your hometown league or your league of record or your big money league or whatever, just because it really forces you to think about certain players in a new and fresh way that could still be applicable in another context. So this was a fucked up format, Travis, but I like the way what it ended up doing for all of us. You know what I mean?
It's like when we mass generate these links, I'm in there just trying to crush a bunch of different links. I didn't want to do the same thing over and over because then we get some of what Scott was saying. It's like, oh, another Superflex. It's like, bro, there's only so many combinations I can do to keep things interesting through 24 different mocks. So sprinkling these in, we had another 14-teamer with Kate and Michelle, I think, that was standard, just like weird things that we're not typically doing a ton of. Just try and get in there and do it. But yeah, to Austin's point, it would be interesting to get this thing on Underdog and actually put some a few bucks behind it and see how it shakes out if we were able to do that. I know their latest puppy was a super flex, but I don't think it was 14 team. It's probably in 12 team brackets for sure. But it does just push that quarterback cliff just a little bit.
Oh man,
there,
too much
to where you're drafting Drew Brees,
and actually shining a little bit of light on that, the funniness aside, but the joke was there because what the fuck else I was supposed to do? You know what I mean? I could grab myself a wide receiver too, and that'd be fine. But it was
to that point, it was the only quarterback drafted between round 7 and 12. So yeah, what were you going to do? You could have just waited to, for the shit heap, but that was fun. That was great. That was great showmanship, dude.
That great content, dude. Yeah, great content.
But because you kind of look at it, right? You're kind of in that middle tier where you're like, well, am I going to really go ahead and grab a Drew Lock, Geno Smith, Garoppolo, these guys who maybe could, one of them will, I don't know which,
and Austin, you truly just saved somebody because now they know, hey, you can't do that. Or this is probably
and to that point, right? And to that point, what mock did we do just before this? Because it was a super flex, but it was a 12 or 14.
I think it was 12.
It was 12, and it wasn't best ball. And I punted quarterback a little bit on that one. And Travis, you called it out, and you're like, dude, I really like your team. It was Jameis Winston, Davis Mills, and Daniel Jones. And I ended up having, but I was able to get Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne. It was freaking stacked at the positional players. And then, you suffer a little bit at quarterback, but Jameis Winston, Daniel Jones, and Davis Mills, I like those 3 quarterbacks in a super flex format. I think they all bring some upside. So, but this one, this was too much. This one, don't do that. Don't do that.
What was kind of your biggest takeaway with this format and kind of what we were rocking with here?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you can do is learn, not only from watching your own draft, but watching everybody else's draft. Because I think in watching these and how these different drafts go and the different types of formats and how many people really affects everything. And I think that my biggest takeaway is simply this, is how much your format matters. Because if we did a 10-team best ball, or this wasn't best ball, or it was dynasty or redraft, it changes so much. And I think people so often make the mistake of getting locked in to they're always going running back, or quarterback. But depending on your format, the strategy you should be using should change every single time. And I think doing stuff like this is the perfect example of, oh man, maybe I shouldn't stick to a strategy and I should, adapt my strategy based on format.
Dude, well said. We talked with Kate and Michelle from Ball Blast earlier, and we did a standard, and they were like, "Why is everyone taking wide receivers here? It's standard. It's not PPR." And it's like, exactly. Exactly. You're totally right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Alex, it's always a pleasure to get you on here. I'm glad we could be on again with you, man. You are a forever member of Whisper Nation, and we appreciate that, brother, man. One of the day ones, if not the day one. Give us a little bit of what you're working on, where people can find you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing that the biggest things that you can find me are on TikTok at Alex Caruso NFL. We got videos coming out every single day, 2 videos a day in August, all the way until the season starts. We're going to have threads coming out on my Twitter a couple times a week to give you the best fantasy information possible. But my biggest message to anybody is that, like, anybody can do it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I started this almost 2 years ago, DMing these guys, asking them for help for fantasy questions 4 years ago. And here I am. I've been an underdog my whole life, and I think if I can do it, absolutely anybody can do it. So I'm so grateful for you guys to have me on the show, but keep checking out my work if you enjoy it. But shout out to these guys for doing something so great every year.
Oh, man, that's really cool.
Appreciate you as always, Alex. You are the man.
You're no underdog in our heart, dude.
Yeah, you win best hair. Yeah. And this is kind of a crew to be winning best hair.
Good fucking hair.
So you're just winning.
My mom cut it yesterday. I was home for her birthday, and she cut it. So shout out.
Wow. Happy birthday, Mom.
Moms are the best.
Happy birthday, Mom. Love it.
Much love, Alex. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate you, man. See you.
See you, buddy. All right, there it is. Another one down.
Yeah, and so
we're halfway through.
Yeah, about 6 minutes away from halfway through. We are about to be done with part 3, moving on to part 4. So
new link,
new link. You know the deal. Give this one a like and a comment on your way out. But we're halfway through, so I'll ask what Austin likes to ask. Yeah. What are our thoughts? What are our takeaways? What are we feeling? You know, we've done this now. This will be the 4th year in a row. How are we feeling about ourselves, our teams, halfway through?
First off, I just love you guys so much, and I love what we've gone through, and like how we have kind of like pushed this culture in a different direction, and I think it's a better one for it. Hannon is messaging me here. He's saying, been popping in here and there throughout the night, guys. You guys are doing great. And it's just like, we're better now in all the ways. You know, we can feel it halfway through. You just get a better understanding of how it all kind of flows. And I think that kind of goes back to the point I made before. Like, we get a chance to draft with such incredible analysts and people that, like, we have been looking up to, you know, in some cases for years and years and years. I mean, when we get to draft alongside and have the guys who write the NBC Sports Edge blurbs, and like we all read those and share them amongst our league of record, and then we get a chance to like chop it up here, and you get to see it's all people. Like, it's all community. The thoughts we're all having, we're all sharing a lot of them. It's just like, which order do we have them in? And I think that just the overall connection just continues to stand out to me, and the similarities stand out to me.
I love it. What about you, Johnny?
I mean, I don't know how I should have went first, bro, because like Austin got all sentimental there. Now I feel like I need to go that way, but like I was gonna go to comedic. I was gonna go the comedic route, say like, bro, I don't even like my lunch. We're doing my lunch period next, and I feel great, man. Like, I don't know if I've ever felt this great. It's, you know, been a blast kicking it with everyone, like you said. You know, Whisper Nation showing up, showing out, like making it difficult for the analysts too that come on here. And you know, it's just been really fun. I also feel very guilty that you know, once again, that I get to do this, and my wife is at home taking care of Juniper by herself. But shout out to her. But
we love you, Jade. We love Juniper,
yes.
And we love Whisper Nation. And we're rocking through this. We love Chelsea and Jay fighting over Austin, and Jay rolling around naked with all 3 of us, I think is what he was saying. So we appreciate the love, Jay. You know, it always at a weird level, but we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
It's a 24-hour mock draft, dude. It's going to get weird in the next 6 hours.
We got Luscious Jesus, Fantasy Football Small Jesus, and New Wave Cult Leader Jesus.
Wow.
I do. It's like the
actually.
Am I New Wave Cult Leader?
That's pretty good.
Oh my God! Ron, epic comment.
Hey,
epic comment.
Yes, Ron, that was well done.
Scott wants to know who's wearing Crocs. You could probably always count on Austin to have some going.
Awesome,
and
bro.
Yeah. It's a leaf. Look, they make it a leaf on the bottom.
Yeah,
they're eco-friendly like that. Yeah, dude, I got my lavender Crocs on for you, doggy. Look at that.
as Johnny alluded to, he'll be going on his 3-hour block break right now. You'll be rocking with Austin and I for the next few hours, but Johnny will be back bright and early on the other side of midnight Pacific time. So we will check it out then. Remember, this stream is dying, so hop on to the other side. Sorry, and we'll be back on with our guys, Dad Bod Fantasy Squad, and we can't wait to be on with those guys and chop.
See you soon.
Appreciate you.
Right here.
Hey, do you like mock drafts? We do too. You can come back every Monday and mock with us. Check out one of these videos and make sure you're liked and subscribed.